What is going on, everybody? It's your boy PTK Blam back in the building with another episode of the Shop Podcast. How is everybody doing this evening? We appreciate you guys hanging out with us, joining us, kicking it with us as you guys do every single weekend. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. Shout out to everybody hanging in chat. I do see a few members. What's up, Blue? What's up, Shontu? Mod of the Year. Few familiar faces, man. Appreciate you guys. Retweet the link. Let everybody know the Shop Podcast is live. We do this every single Saturday. So pull up, kick back, have some fun. We're going to talk games. We got an amazing guest. Hasn't been here in a while, but always family, man. So we're going to get to him first. You guys know what we do. We roll out the red carpet. Shout out to everybody hanging out with us, man, in chat. Shinrock Sound Gaming, thank you so much for kicking it with us. Everybody hanging out with us, thank you so much. But we're going to get started with our special guest. Shout out to you, Sensei. Thank you for hanging out with us, brother. It's been a little while. But when you two familiar faces, man, it's like, we were just hanging out yesterday. So it don't even feel really any different. So shout out to you for hanging out with us. But let everybody know where they can find you and what you've been up to, brother.
Oh, man, definitely. When you sent the invite out, I was like, man, it's about damn time. Shit. No. I mean, you sent the invite out and you already know, man. Like, I don't think even let you finish the sentence or the text.
You didn't, bro. I didn't even.
I saw three dots come in and I'm like, I'm in it. And you didn't even ask the question. I'm like, hey, I'm there.
I appreciate it.
To hang out with Pong, Fuzzy, and you. I was like, let's go. No, but it's been a little bit over about 5-6 months. But I appreciate the invite back, man. I've been doing my thing since last and just was talking before I went live and just, finding my little comfort zone when it comes to content creating and putting stuff out there. But my channel can be found on the Sensei's Thoughts. That's just the channel Sensei's Thoughts, and you can find it there. I do my pod every Sundays, 4:00 p.m. Eastern time, and I drop daily content from Monday to Friday. I just pick a game I'm interested in that's on my radar, and I just make a video on it. And every now and again, we'll do like I dropped a video. It was like a top 5 or top 4, whatever things that Xbox can improve on, stuff like that. And Xbox is my preferred platform.
All right, so go check that video. Go check all his content out, not just one video. So all of that's down in the description below. Please go check it out. The channel's there, the YouTube page there, everything's there. Please go follow him. Do me a favor. You know what we do here. We show support to every single guest because we appreciate the time they take to hang out with us, give us this great content. Shout out to you, Sensei, everybody that, supports you over there. We're a big supporter of what you do over here. Thank you for hanging out with us, brother. Let me get to my two compadres, my awesome brothers, man. Shout out to the battery of the podcast, Mr. Duracell. Appreciate you, Mr. Pong Soul, hanging out with us, man. Giving us good energy. You came in hot. Well, you were early. You actually got here first, but that energy is always present, brother. Thank you, man. How your week been?
Man, it's been a long week. Honestly, just real life stuff. Just been a really long week. Lots of work stuff. So it's nice to have the weekend. It's nice to have a nice long weekend. Shout out to everybody celebrating the 4th of July. Happy 4th of July to all of you. Most of us get an extended break, which is always awesome. So I'm going to take full advantage of that because I barely got any gaming in this week at all. So I am happy to be here. But yeah, my third show of the day. So I am all loose. I'm ready to rock and roll. Let's go. PTK, we got some great topics tonight, and obviously always awesome to have Sensei on the show back again. Great to hear his thoughts. Love his work over there, even though I don't get to watch it as much as I'd like to. It is fantastic to hear him talk. So, and of course, seeing you and Fuzzy PTK, or at least hearing you guys, man, that just makes my Saturday. You know how this goes. Let's get down to business.
Let's get down to business. We always love Pong here. Appreciate Pong. Battery of the podcast, as I say, always bringing the energy. Third show of the damn day. You guys know what, man. That's Iron Man over there, man.
And 4-hour living split screen, so we can count that as 2 shows.
Yeah, that's so technically 2 shows.
So that'll be 4.
Give that man a Monster, a Red Bull, a rock drink, and all that good stuff.
Everything. Jesus Christ, man. But we appreciate it. Always bringing the energy for the show. The great energy for the podcast as well, man. Shout out to everybody in chat. General Spartan, Shonsu, thank you, man, for always being here every week. Doing the modding thing for us, man. So let's go ahead and throw this over to you, Mr. Fuzzy Belvedere, man. The balance. He's kind of like the balance of the show, man. Shout out to you, Fuzz. How has your week been? What you been up to? What you playing?
Been doing good. Been playing on my Steam Deck and everything, and got Game Pass going on there. Run like it's almost like a native app type of deal right now.
Yes, that's crazy.
But outside of that, just seeing some people on Twitter just lose their mind sending unsolicited pictures for release dates. I mean, really, are we going that far these days? No, but it's great to be here. It's great to have Sensei back on here as well. And man, we've got some interesting topics to get into, so let's do it.
Let's dive in, man. Shout out to Fuzz, always here every week as well. And shout out to you guys. Shout out to chat. You guys are amazing. We wouldn't even be doing this if it wasn't for you guys showing up every single week, interested in everything we're talking about, man. So appreciate you guys. Once again, if you're new, subscribe, hit the like button, all of that good stuff. Don't need to tell you guys. Let's get into this content. And we always start with the poll of the week. And if you want to take part in that, follow me on Twitter. Very easy to do. All the information down in the description as well. So go ahead and do that. So we're starting with the poll of the week this week. And shout out to everybody who actually voted, man. So if you want to be a part of that, do what I just said. So we're diving in this week. So the question was, people seem to be excited about Xbox Game Pass on Steam Deck. So shout out to you, Fuzz. You kind of already knew what was going on with this poll. So should Xbox make a handheld and would you buy it? This has always been kind of a controversial question. So it's funny because 67% of the vote said yes. That was not what I thought was going to happen. I did not think that was going to happen. 33% voted no. So I thought that would actually be more of a flip-flop. So shout out to everybody who voted. But we're going to throw this around here to the panel. Throw it around in chat. Chat, what do you guys feel about that? Would you guys be okay with a handheld? Kind of give you an explanation why, yes, no. You guys know what we do here. But we throwing it to you, Sensei, first. Are you in? Are you buying or selling on Xbox if they even decided to go that route?
Man, I was on that poll. I was part of the no side.
Okay.
But that's more of a preference, though. The whole. I mean, obviously, it's a preference for me because I don't play like the mobile side of things. I don't do the handheld stuff. I do have like a Nintendo Switch that the family plays with the wife, and every now and again we'll get around it and just plug it onto the big screen TV in the living room. We'll play like party games. But as far as Xbox needing, look, listen. Here's what I like. It even comes down to the purchase of Activision Blizzard. Like a lot of people don't realize this, but the biggest purchase there is the King games, right? The mobile side of things. So if you don't think Xbox is putting they're going to put their market or their games on the mobile side where the money's being made, they probably are. Maybe not now, but sometime down the line, that handheld is probably going to be coming soon. So for me, is a no. However, there is a market out there for this. And you talking about the Japanese market who loves mobile gaming? Yeah, I can see that coming out maybe in the next 5 years.
Okay, that's very interesting because once again, I did not expect this take because I have always been in the mind that, and this until this is obviously we'll talk about this a little bit. The Steam Deck came out, and obviously the portability of that with Game Pass kind of like made me open my eyes. Prior to that, I just felt like that's such a tough space, right? Nobody survives that space or has yet been able to. I mean, outside of mobile phones, which is different than like Nintendo, but Nintendo's dominated the handheld gaming space, right, for so long.
Oh, yeah.
So this has been attributed to success. It's kind of the gold standard. So I didn't think this is once again, this is prior to Steam Deck. So, but I don't know if that changed your opinion at all. Did that swing you in any way? As far as the Steam Deck coming out, seeing the compatibility. I know Fuzz will get into this because he has one. But seeing the compatibility, like, did that change your mind?
Well, I have a buddy of mine. Luckily, I have a buddy of mine who lives close by here, and he purchased one, and I was allowed to try it out, and I played some games on it, and even Xbox games. I'm going, wait a minute, this is not bad. See, my whole thing is going into the whole mobile handheld thing. Is I'm old school, so I'm already thinking 8-bit, 16-bit, ugly graphics, too slow. Like already thinking that, but the moment he allowed me to go ahead and even try it out. It kind of swayed. I'm like, man, if they do come out with one, I might just end up getting one because it plays like a console on my hand. At least the StreamYard does, or the Steam Deck does.
Yeah.
But if I see, Xbox can either do a good partnership with them and just get that going over there, and I think that'll be the safest way because they already have the infrastructure in place with cloud gaming and that getting bigger and getting stronger. They could do a good partnership going forward there where they have
like an Xbox edition or something.
Yeah, like an Xbox edition, right? Something like that where they can do that. Because right now, I think they're more focusing on the TV side of things with the Samsung agreement and all that stuff. And they're doing that, but they do have the key infrastructure in place with the xCloud. That stuff is working really good and it's getting better every single month. For God's sakes, I go on there and I'm going, wow, it's running smooth now. It launches faster. It doesn't look pixelated. It doesn't look fuzzy. But for sure, man, when I put that handheld in my hand and play some of the games on there, I'm like, yeah, I see I see why people are raving right now with this handheld market right now. But you're right, man. Nintendo has been holding it down for quite some time, but it's time to introduce something fresh.
Yeah, no, there's always room for that. There's absolutely
Hmm.
room for disruption in the market. I'm all for that, right? Like, I'm just saying it's tough to survive in that space, considering the standard has kind of been set for so long. But once again, with this Steam Deck coming on, I know they're making them kind of limited quantity. They're not doing the super mass, but once again, as this thing grows and this Steam Deck matures and they get better versions out, it's they're not going to stop making a Steam Deck. It's already been successful. There's going to be more of these, right? I assume there's going to be more of these and better versions along the way as the tech gets better, right? So we're gonna throw this over to you, Paul, and get your opinion on, is this, are you down with a handheld if Xbox decided, or even he did kind of throw a curveball there with maybe just a partnership for like just a addition that was, you know what I mean, or something along those lines.
Yeah, that was one of the original ideas that we talked about, I think, when the Steam Deck was announced. And
Yeah, I think
we know Gabe and Phil had been talking, and Gabe's patched his relationship with Microsoft. And again, we went through all that, and we thought that they could do a Xbox branded Steam Deck and it would work out fantastic. Listen, overall, yes, I would buy one as long as it's native hardware. If it's cloud only, with a phone and my Razer Kishi, I don't think I would buy the handheld. But if they somehow get the tech, and again, there's some hurdles here,
Yeah.
but I think that they're working towards that. If they could take the S and shrink it down and make it a handheld and give it some battery life, which is going to be a major, major problem, then yes, I would do it. If I had access to my entire purchase library and I could play it natively right there, download it to an SSD, I like the Steam Deck, I would absolutely do it. I think it would be absolutely incredible investment for Microsoft to make. I know there's probably, a risk reward here,
Oh, yeah.
and there is high risk when it comes to portable stuff, as we've seen in the past from a lot of developers. But if anything, right now, if they could do it in the next couple of years and capitalize on the new kind of portable fan base that has been created by the Switch, and we see it carrying over now to the Steam Deck, and they could find, again, there's a lot of different things they could do, but if they can find a way to make it work where the S hardware is inside that thing, I think that would be a gigantic seller for them. And I think that they would be profitable and the risk kind of would be nullified. If they make a cloud only stream portable, that's where I think that it would shrink the desire for a lot of people down.
Yeah.
And I think you would definitely limit your fan base to that type of device, to a very select group of people. So I don't think they want to go that route. I do think that they probably look at this and say, hey, if we can get that S down, we can basically make it so that the devs don't have to do any extra work for a portable device, so that we're not running into having a whole nother device that the devs have to actually go in and say, okay, well, we actually have to make it work now on this as well. I think that would be the best bet, but I would be all for that. So I'm definitely in the camp that would be interested in an Xbox handheld for sure.
Okay. So once again, I do understand. And shout out to chat. What's up, UK Lab? What's up, Steel Rain? You see him creeping in here.
Yeah, Steel's following me around.
Steel.
He's following me
Absolutely.
around.
Shout out to what just happened as well, man. But no, I agree with you. I am in that group as well. I mean, once again, I think the Steam Deck definitely made me have once again, sometimes you don't know what you want till you see it, right? That's kind of how this works a lot of times. Yeah. So like I didn't really think it was even possible, like even feasible for Xbox to go in that space just due to, like Nintendo having such a strong, like
I wish Sony would come back. Look, Vita was amazing.
PSP was amazing.
PSP was ahead of its time. And it didn't catch on. And when they tried the all digital version, we saw what happened. People weren't ready for that. But the Vita, so Sony it stopped supporting the Vita way too soon. The Vita had a fan base and was growing, and they just, again, whatever the reasons, financially couldn't do it. Just decided that it wasn't worth it anymore with Nintendo's dominance. Whatever the case may be, the Vita had a place, and that was an entirely different operating system, right? The devs had to make separate games for that, and it still worked out. So again, that's why I think Xbox right now, with the revitalization of the mobile and handheld market, where it stands now, definitely could jump in and do something in this space. I definitely think it would work for Xbox.
Oh, absolutely. I do now. Like I said, I didn't see it. I didn't see it until I saw the compatibility. I've watched a ton of videos. Now, I don't own a Steam Deck where obviously the person that's going to talk next has a firsthand experience. Obviously, Sensei had a firsthand experience as well. But are you in if this was even I know there's a lot of stuff on the laundry list for us. I get it, right? And we're like even we're not even thinking about that stuff, right? I get there's probably this is low on the totem pole of things that they're probably looking at. But if in this particular world, we're fantasy drafting here. What if this was on the table? Like this is the next priority. Would you be in for an Xbox handheld?
I would. Now, there's a couple of key things. Like, as someone that has the Steam Deck and did the Microsoft Edge beta thing, where it's almost like a native app after you go through a few of the steps. But I would really like to see them do something kind of like what Sensei was saying, and to what Pong was hinting to, where it's like a worked out agreement, almost like the Bang Olufsen headphones, where it was like made for Xbox. If they did a Steam Deck that was made for Xbox that incorporated the Game Pass app, I do agree. Have some stuff native. Considering that this game is, or this handheld is able to play PC games, although be it's at a lower resolution in some cases than what the Model S would be, and you can do some additional tweaking to make it run smooth, where you can either lock it at 30 frames or you can do a mix between 40 frames and 40 hertz for the screen, so it gives it almost that 60 frames feel to some
Nice.
extent, but to have it also do like remote play, like where you also have access to your library, or if and I know it's going to be a hard battle on a licensing end to have it where, okay, if I have this game that's on Steam but I already own it via the Microsoft Store, would I be able to get like a an additional license to play it through the Steam piece? Or if the agreement is that this is a made for Xbox deal, that would allow you to access all of your Microsoft Store purchases, that I think in the grand scheme of things would be the best bet. But if they did do a handheld that is able to be on par with like a Series S, have decent battery life, although keep in mind the Steam Deck, it depends on the type of games you play. If you're playing Portal, you could probably get 4 or 5 hours. If you're playing Grand Theft Auto, you're getting 2 hours. So if they had something along those lines where it's kind of like happy medium, maybe 720p instead of 1080p, no lower than 30 frames, but have it where you can adjust the frame rate similar to how you can do on the Steam Deck, and the hertz of the refresh rate of the screen itself, I think will be the better way to go. Without having to put too much extra work on the dev side of things, more so have it where it's a hardware controlled setup, or the end user can tweak a bit to some extent. But I didn't think I would want a dedicated handheld, but after considering I'm getting up there in age and my eyes aren't the greatest like what they were, let's say even 5 years ago, playing them on like a phone, because I have the Razer Kishi as well, and that seemed great for a while. But some games, it's like, yeah, I would rather have a screen that's almost twice as big, but I don't want a phone that's just twice as big in my pocket that I'm carrying around, type of thing. So a dedicated handheld, I think there is a market for it. How big of a market? I don't think it'll be in Switch territory by any means, but I do think that if it's profitable, or if it's even within reason for them to do the research and go to market for something that may only move 2 to 4 million units a year,
Yeah, that's kind of
I don't
tough.
know. But I think I think that's where this would fall. Like if you're already in the Xbox ecosystem and you're looking for stuff on the go, I think this would be a better alternative than your phone to some extent, as long as the price point is, model or like Series S price range, or lower type of deal. But if it winds up being, like the big boy Steam Deck pricing, and it's got those same limitations, it might be a harder sell. But right
Yeah.
now, the Steam Deck, a made for Xbox edition, would be perfect. A dedicated Xbox portable would be very nice, but It's got to be under 300. It's got to last more than 2 or 3 hours on some of the first party titles, like playing Horizon, let's say, or Halo, or anything along those lines. You need a couple of hours, and it would need to play those natively and have the ability to do a cloud app and stream from your Xbox, or at least have access to your Xbox library without necessarily being in your home Wi-Fi type of thing. I think that if they could figure out a way to do that at that price point, I think they got their own lightning in a bottle. But that's
that's
kind of where I'm at.
I'm with Fuzzy when it comes to, because I got the Razer as well, and I don't want to dedicate my phone to a bigger screen. It is what it is. That's the phone. Having a dedicated bigger screen on a mobile device is pretty cool. And with Pong saying it being native and that kind of stuff, that those two have great points there. I want to add this though. Off the software side, think of the hardware. If the partnership was to ever happen, think about the hardware, like what they could do with that, like a themed Gears of War or a themed Halo handheld. Imagine that, like the whole thing just themed out in Gears of War Blood. Like it's just so, just the opportunities they have there would be cool if a partnership marketing agreement was to happen there.
Yeah, that's not even that's like a cherry on top, right? We pretty much discussed it. Yeah, I mean, you talk about the tech side, the software side. A lot of stuff would have to happen, right? Like we do understand a lot of things will have to fall in place. So, but that's even work.
Well, Steam did make mention when they released the Steam Deck that it's not exactly open source, but it's kind of open source. I guess they're basically saying if you wanted to partner up with them to make your own version of their hardware, or if you wanted to make your own portable, there are certain things that you would be able to mimic as far as their hardware without it being like copyright infringement or anything. But it seems like Steam is willing to work with just about anybody that wants to make a portable in their in the Steam Deck's vision, as long as, I guess, I'm pretty sure the caveat is that Steam OS has to be at least accessible or pre-installed or something to that effect. And I could see Microsoft kind of being okay with that, considering their change of heart on a lot of things, as far as like an open storefront and things like that.
And kudos to them too, because I think they allow you to even fix your own handheld, right? If you need to fix it, you can buy the aftermarket parts and fix it yourself. You don't have to worry about the whole sending it off,
proprietary and all this other stuff.
Parts and all that stuff. Yeah, pretty cool.
That's pretty neat. Once again, a lot of and shout out to Chad, a lot of creativity there with that Steam Deck, and we're just warming up. This is a quick jog around the track just to get the calves and the thighs working. So we just gonna get into the meat of the actual podcast tonight. But shout out to everybody watching. Once again, shout out to everybody live. Hit the like button if you haven't already. Subscribe if you haven't already. So we're moving on to the next topic.
And got stretched out for this one.
Oh yeah, you gotta stretch out for this one. We're gonna lay this one all the way down for sure. So we're talking a little God of War. Just this little thing that's been, nothing too big, right? Like just kind of small, topic being run, kind of been floating around the community lately. A lot of different, people feel a lot of different ways about this game. But the question that we pose here, and I think this is ultimately the only question that matters. Now does it matter as much? No, I don't think it matters as much. But this is the question I think should be the like at the top of the actual laundry list. And is the game coming this year or not? Right. So we hear a lot of conflicting differences. Some people say there's a lot of stuff, going on and things have been delayed, which, is possibly true. But, you got Corey Barlog tweeting out, seemingly getting people hyped about, God of War. The game is, I can't say it's coming, but just about God of War in general. So we're going to throw this over to you, Sensei. Where you at on God of War? Now, ultimately, it's God of War. The game's going to come out. It's going to do numbers. They're going to run them. They're going to run it up. The game's probably going to do well. It's probably going to, have a, very high Metacritic. Not that matters, but some people value that as well. But Sensei, where you at on this, man?
Oh man, look, God of War is absolutely one of my favorite franchises in gaming history for me. I enjoyed the original trilogy, even the mobile side of it when they had it on the mobile side. God of War Ragnarok, I think it is coming out this year. There's a lot of telltale signs going on right now with Corey getting more into Twitter, more active on Twitter. It's just the back and forth he's talking about, like he just got into a discussion about leave the devs alone.
Yeah.
And you know how he got back and forth with the I can't wait for Starfield to come out, and then somebody said, but
Somebody
God of
said,
War,
yeah.
yeah. And then I think late last night, I think what is it, late tweets last night, he even tweeted it's coming. Like I don't know if that was supposed to be a joke or whatever, but the marketing side of things is starting to leak out little by little, and that's always a telltale sign when the marketing side starts leaking, because the marketing machine can't be stopped. Once everything's in place and that starts coming out, that's a telltale sign that we're going to get some sort of announcement. Now, what I think Sony's doing with this franchise, it's their baby, especially for something coming out later this year. It's their baby. They're going to treat it like a baby. They're doing like the Nintendo route, where they don't announce something till it's ready, like complete ready with no delays, and they don't want that for their baby. I think God of War does come out, or Ragnarok, I should, does come out this year, and when they do show it off and give you a drop date, it's gonna blow a lot of people's minds. It's one of my highly anticipated games, and I may be talking as a fan from the fan perspective here, but I hope it comes out, man. It has to come out, because I can't wait to put my hands on that game and play it, man.
Yeah. No, once again, man, it's one of my favorite franchises. I've said many times here on the Shop Podcast as well. Very excited for that game as well. Will it make this year? Once again, a lot of conflicting stuff about the game, but it seems seemingly lately, I would say things have gone the direction of, the hype is seemingly starting to seep out. Things are slowly starting to build up. Like you said, Corey Barlog, especially kind of, being out there talking in the community, saying different things. Like you said, having that tweet about it's coming, this type of stuff. So we're going to throw this over to you, Pong. I'm sure you've talked about this probably many times today, for a few hours each time you've talked about it, but just where you at on this, man? Is it drop 2022? Is it making it? You think it's going to be pushed any further?
Yeah, no, I've been on this hill since day one. I think that the 2022 date is in effect. We did hear, even though, there was some talk that the 30th was the date, that there might be a state of play. And then we just heard, well, no, it's not going to be a state of play. They're just going to drop all the info for God of War, drop some gameplay, drop the special editions, and finally drop the release date. And for whatever reason, some respectable people, depending on how you consider them personally, did come out and say that that was legit, but it got delayed again. And for whatever reason, but I think that because, like Sensei was just talking about, the ramp up that we do see, Corey Barlog coming back to Twitter again, and really getting excited, but also getting down and dirty with some of the not so friendly fans out there who've taken it upon themselves to make devs, lives a living hell in the DMs. I think that all points to the fact that this is happening. And again, it's going to have to come pretty soon if they are still planning on launching. And I think 11/11/22 is in play for real. I know we've talked about it, we've joked about it, but I do think that's a solid date now that Starfield has moved out of that date for God of War to fall. Like I've said previously, I think it could be pushed to December if necessary, if they need the extra time, but it's all hands on deck. And I think that they're going to get God of War done. I think it's getting ready to be announced. And I think that sooner than later, I think July, they've got to get that information out there, whether it's this next coming week or within the next couple weeks here. I think we will have that final announcement with all the details on the special editions with an actual launch date. And I think that launch date will end in 2022 for sure. And that's how they're going to bookend their year. And it's a spectacular move by Sony. And it shows, if it does happen, that things are changing over at Sony. They are adjusting to Xbox becoming a main competitor. Again, whether Xbox views Sony that way or not doesn't matter. Sony will always view Xbox as a main competitor, and they're going to try to keep pace with them, even though they don't have as many studios. They're going to do what they can with their biggest titles, and God of War is obviously one of their biggest, if not the biggest title right now, outside of Naughty Dog, obviously, and outside of Last of Us. But I think God of War even has a little bit more mass appeal, and so I think they're going to make that happen. So 2022 it is. I'm on.
All right. So I think I'm on that train as well, too. I mean, I don't think, like you said, I think all signs point to that direction, that it's going to be 2022. And it's God of War, people. It's God of War. It's going to be massive. It's going to be awesome. It's going to sell a hell of a lot of copies. It's probably going to be very highly rated. If the game is, we're not going to jump the gun on that, but if the game is what it should be, what we expect from, that studio, Sony Santa Monica, nothing but quality. And they've earned that. If I'm being 100% honest, if we don't do that here, we don't parse our words here at the Shop Podcast. That's why you guys show up every single week. Sony Santa Monica is putting in a lot of work, have been for a very long time. So we definitely got to give them credit in that regard. So Mr. Fuzzy Belvedere, I know you PS5 owner as well, right? So I know you play a lot of PlayStation 5 games. Shout out to you for that. Shout out to chat as well. What's up, Gabe? What's up, Ham? Chillin' Boba. What's up, brother in chat? So we'll turn this over to you, Fuzzy. Just God of War making 2022. I know the 11-11-22 is the thing here, right? And once again, I get it. It is a great to be in me and Pong talked about this in DM, so I'm divulging some information here, but that is a really good date, Pong. I can't lie as far as just when it falls in a year, right?
Yep.
Like that's a really good date. Now it's available. That's a really good date to slide into. If I'm being just regular here, right? I'm being just regular here. That's a good damn date to drop a game. Like it's right before the holidays. You kind of get that like that positivity built up. You book in your year, right? So that's always good. So Fuzz, where you at on this?
Well, I'm one that's also on the 11-11-22 train as well, and it has to do with just what we view as Sony's old energy. Like this is how you share a game. Oh well, you want to delay a game? We'll slide one in that slot and sell a few million copies on day one type of thing and move along. But yeah, I think God of War is coming the end of this year. Having Corey Borlaug come back onto Twitter, I can't imagine he picked a better time if he wanted to like market the game. But I think the reasons why he left before blew up in his, well, I wouldn't say it blew up in his face, but it was quite clear some of the toxicity that he had to deal with, or his employees and staff and stuff like that have had to deal with in the past have been made pretty obvious, whether it's shutting down the I guess you could say make believe console war. It's like people in this industry that are in the gaming industry, devs and whatnot, they play games that are on other platforms as well. They're not real. I mean, competition is, they want to have a game that wins awards and gets recognized, but they still want to play video games because they enjoy it. That's part of the reason why they got into that field. So seeing, people, downplay on Starfield, and he's like, hey, I'm just as excited and probably take some time off. Was he joking? Possibly, but I think there's some seriousness in it, just for the fact that I can't imagine someone that's going to be into God of War and is into other, video game genres in general, wouldn't be at least interested in the sci-fi game as well. I mean, considering the scope of what that game is going to be. But seeing him back on social media, fun times in his mentions and things along those lines. But I think it comes out this year. 11-11-22 would be a nice
that's not a bad date.
Sony old energy move.
A little bit, right?
The mutual respect there is amazing too, with Phil coming on there saying, I can't wait for God of War. It's almost like saying,
right.
11-11, go for it, man. It's yours. Like, go ahead and do it. Like, as a gamer, we're all gamers here. As a gamer, if it does drop on that date, we get a game on 11-11. We get to play a God of War if that's the case on 11-11. It's a AAA title. It's a big, right before Black Friday, right before Christmas and Thanksgiving. And we'll have something to play before the end of the year. It's pretty cool, pretty neat.
It's gonna be nice. So once again, chat, let us know how you guys feel about that. Right? Great topic. This is what we do here at the Shop Podcast, man. What's up, Gabe? And we definitely have some Steam Deck owners. Mr. Fuzzy Belvedere is one himself, so hit him up on Twitter. You want any questions? I'm sure he'll probably try and answer them as best as he can. So shout out to you, Gabe. Appreciate you hanging out with us, man. But we are moving on, man. That was such a great topic, man. I could really talk about that all day. I'm so excited for the game. Can't wait to get reviews and all those types of things and just see people's opinions as well. That's always going to be fun. So we're moving on. We're talking a little bit of fantasy baseball here. We do this a lot. So we're going to Speculation Town, Pong. So this is right up your alley. We're visiting Speculation Town. Will be here for the next probably half hour or so.
I already have it unlocked. Snacks are available for purchase. They are not free, but we do have some Bago nuts and whatever, some a minor drink selection, but they are available for purchase. But the doors are open and tours are ongoing. So let's get down to Speculation Town.
This is what we do here. This is how we run it, Sensei.
I love the energy. Thank you. dig it.
absolutely. Speculation time. Here we come. So we're talking a little bit about this, this Activision Blizzard deal, right? This thing, a huge milestone just happened, I believe, not too long ago. And I know we'll get into the details of that, but it was a huge milestone. I believe the FTC, I think, wasn't it some type of like they pretty much okayed the deal, correct?
No.
Or something along those lines?
No,
Was it
no,
not
no.
the FTC or something was submitted to the FTC, was it?
Yes, it was a CWA, so which is the largest union in the tech industry, and it's all communications. It's one of the biggest unions, all of communications, so cell phones, everything. The CWA sent a letter because they reached an agreement with Microsoft that if any of their employees decide to unionize, that they will remain neutral. They will not, bring in union busting lawyers to attempt to break it up. None of that stuff. So this is a
big
huge deal because the tech industry has been highly resistant to unions. We just saw Amazon go through a battle when some of their warehouse workers attempted to unionize. So this is an industry overall, especially with companies the size of Microsoft obviously being one of the largest in the world. This does not happen. If you would have told me 5 years ago Microsoft ever would have agreed to this type of language, I would have said you're crazy. And 80s and 90s Microsoft, I would have laughed my head off, right? Absolutely not. So they came to an agreement. CWA was one of the people that were on the side of the FTC and some of the senators who were grandstanding, saying that, yeah, we need to look at this. I don't know if this is good for the labor. And so now with their blessing, they've sent the letter to the FTC saying, nope, we're all good with this. We like this acquisition now. So
which is huge, right? That's a huge,
gigantic,
blessing.
monumental, and it's going to have ramifications for a whole lot more than just this acquisition here, which is fantastic as well. So
yeah, it's a big hurdle. That's a huge hurdle.
Yeah,
and we'll get into that. We'll definitely dive into that. So, Fuzz. So I mean, obviously this happened. This is a huge deal, man. I want to get your opinion in on this, brother, before we throw this around to everybody. Make sure we get to it. But where you at on this, man? What and once again, where you at on this, and what will be the first announcements you would make once the deal goes through? We got to get to the question as well. Can't forget about that. So where you at on it happening, and then first decision you make once that ink is dry?
Oh yeah, like I think the big thing is kind of like what Pong was referencing and everything, is that all the hurdles that a lot of people saw as far as this deal have been pretty much removed or overcome in some way, shape, or form. It's definitely going to make business in the gaming space for the big tech companies like Apple and Amazon moving forward, considering how resistant they are to unions and such. But going forward, I think the big thing is, I think this deal gets done before the end of this actual year, not their fiscal year, but I mean, considering that they've already started fiscal year 2023, I've kind of always been on the August, September range as far as this deal closing. I mean, it's quite possible it could be pushed out a little bit further than that, but I still think that they're trying to get this done before the holidays. So that way they can, put all of the games that they can in Game Pass as soon as possible, make a big push for the holiday rush for the Model S and Model X and stuff like that, and go forward there. And considering that, Blizzard's making purchases of teams that, they use that help for World of Warcraft as well, but I kind of wish they use that audible or made that call when it came to Crystal Dynamics. Let Activision Blizzard purchase Crystal Dynamics at the time when they were up for sale or something, which would have made it an awesome all-around deal for Microsoft. But I think the first thing is get as much stuff in Game Pass, get that ready for the holidays. If they can, put either a sticker on the box or put the advertising dollars out there as far as all of Call of Duty is on Game Pass and or available on Game Pass, and that will pretty much sell those consoles as fast as they possibly can. And then the next move after that, once the ink is dry, they got the games in Game Pass. I think the big thing next is if there's any more, I wouldn't say loose ends, but like holes in their like gaming lineup or anything like that, fill them now. Like if there's additional teams they need to help with Halo for, the regular content for the multiplayer, some story DLC and things like that. Look at dev studios for that, like Certain Affinity. As far as if they need any additional studios like that are going to be working on, I don't know, like well, they already got the family game ones that would be in Activision. So as far as things like Crash Bandicoot, but if there are any other ones or possibly WP at that point, see if they can't get, at least a couple of those studios as opposed to focusing on a publisher. But I think that's their next step, because going for publishers seemed to be a little bit of a rocky road, although this will, kick the door down as far as once they get Activision. But focus on, a fewer of the talented dev studios that are out there and pick those up now while the, getting is good type of thing and prices are reasonable. And that's, I guess, plan moving forward from there.
So I'm gonna throw this back to Pong, but before I do, because we want to get the full shout out to Ryan in chat, we want to get everybody's full, acknowledgement, full answer here of the topic. So the only thing I would say about that, Fuzz, is that a lot of the studios haven't been able to do. Obviously, they're coming from kind of a dictatorship, right? They all were working on Call of Duty at some point in time, right? Like they were all assigned Call of Duty to some degree, whether with version of Call of Duty, doesn't matter. They all were doing Call of Duty, so they had zero creative freedom. I just, once again, if I had my, my keys to the car, essentially, I'm probably looking at the war chest first just to see. Now, obviously, minus the Game Pass stuff is obvious. I think Phil's even said it, right? Or something along them lines. Or Matt Booty said it, I believe, correct? That, they want those games in Game Pass. And that's something that they're definitely pointing towards. They definitely want to do that. So that's a huge deal for them. Outside of that, I think looking at the war chest to see maybe what you can bring back, maybe some titles. And I think they'll do that maybe down the line. Maybe that's not, a high priority once things get signed up. So we'll get this over to you, Pong, and kind of get your general opinion on like what would be your first move. We obviously, I don't know if you let every cat out the bag. You generally kind of like, I'm letting you guys know what the damn roadmap is for the next 10 years, but I don't know if you're still on that train or not, but what are you doing with this, man?
Yeah. So outside of the Game Pass, which obviously would be huge. I mean, again, everything will be announced. That'll be the first thing out the gates they announce. But when you get down to it, it's going to take a while to assimilate this acquisition. Okay. This is not a small acquisition. Okay. We're talking about over 10,000 employees. Okay. We're talking about 10,000 employees in some cases that have gone through major issues within their departments that we now have found out.
Can't forget about that.
We're talking about still a lot of spring cleaning to be done, even if they are doing it internally right now themselves. Microsoft is going to take their time and go through that place with a fine-tooth comb to make sure that there is no spots of cancer left after they get rid of Kotick and the rest of the heads of cancer. They are going to be going through that place and talking to everybody. I can guarantee human resources is going to be crawling all over that place like FBI, okay? Just to make sure that they get everybody out of there that needs to get out of there, have a fresh start, fresh slate, okay? So they're going to do all that. So why I say that is that the things that we have heard from Phil and talked about, and the Toys for Bobs and that kind of stuff, we're not going to see that right out the gate. Like that's going to take a while to get done. Kind of separate them, untangle them from Call of Duty, kind of figure out what they want to do, where they're going next, what they can start working on. So I think the easiest announcements will come from Blizzard. And I think that that's going to be the easy part. The transition wise over there, it's going to be easier for Blizzard because we already seen that they have started being more vocal. They announced a new survival game. We got the World of Warcraft DLC. They are ready to rock and roll, and they just bought Proletariat Studio, which were the makers of Spellbreak, which added another 100 experienced devs to the Blizzard team to work on World of Warcraft. So I'm looking to Blizzard as one of the first major announcements outside of the Game Pass stuff dropping, and I think that we hear about one of two things: StarCraft coming back, or World of Warcraft 2 being announced.
I was going to say.
Yeah. I think that because I think that internally World of Warcraft 2 probably was pitched years ago. World of Warcraft is way over the hill. Okay. It is like, it's still obviously a juggernaut, but it is past its prime by a lot. Even World of Warcraft fanatics will admit that, hey, like this, we need a new World of Warcraft here. Like this needs to come up to date. So I think that internally it was probably proposed. Activision shot it down because they didn't want to put the resources and time into it because they need to continuously make money under the investors. So once that's freed up, I think World of Warcraft 2 announcement would be huge. Would, even if they just came out, like even if they hand drew on a piece of paper World of Warcraft 2 coming to PC and consoles in the future, that would burn down the internet in itself, and as far as hype levels go. But I think the more realistic one is StarCraft. I think internally they've been working on StarCraft. I think there's been a small team on it. I think that we've seen some hints out there on Twitter that StarCraft could be announced sooner than later. And I think as soon as that acquisition's done, floodgates open up. There's really some bright light coming through, some fresh air in all of those buildings over there. And I think that would be a gigantic announcement. Number one, PC market would explode. Xbox is so ready to take over the PC market. They said that's a focus for them going forward. StarCraft coming back also gains you. Basically, it's a single played card that will win you Korea because it is so gigantic over in Korea, and it's still being played to this day, tournament style over there without any updates, without any of that stuff. They're still playing StarCraft 2 over there. If you came out and announced a brand new StarCraft, my God, that part of the world would be so ecstatic, along with a lot of other people throughout the world. Don't get me wrong here, but that would be a huge push in the Asian markets where we know Xbox wants that push as well. That StarCraft announcement would be the cherry on top to this acquisition. So I think that's the easy one for me.
Wow. Okay. So I didn't even consider StarCraft. I completely forgot about that, but it is huge. That is a huge game. I played that game in high school as well too. I remember at lunchtime and on the PCs. But it's that probably I didn't consider that. Now I'm thinking about it. That is pretty damn big. So we're gonna throw this. So we're gonna get this to Sensei. Make sure he gets his opinion in on this, brother. So once again, we're handing you the keys to this deal, right? Hey, this thing is getting done X days from now.
Yeah.
Okay, they're like, okay, what are we doing first? What is your answer?
Geez, you want me to follow Pong on that? Yeah, he hit
I don't know.
he hit every check mark on that list right there, man. No, man. Look, this acquisition is big. It's huge. We all know that. It's gonna hit the Game Pass PC side of things with the whole, the Blizzard side, the mobile side of things with King Games. Then you have your console side of things with Call of Duty. And you guys hit everything on the head there when it comes to the vote they have of just a buku of games that I would like for them to just work on and release and get away from annual releases of Call of Duty. You have your StarCraft still being big, like Khan was saying. I see World of Warcraft. That's something that I can see that's been pitched a long time ago, and that's something that could be coming to Game Pass. But they did drop some nuggets on the Xbox with the showcase. When they had Diablo come in there, they talked about Diablo, and like they had like these games came out there, and they were like, "Hey, we're talking about these games." I honestly think that the moment this acquisition gets finalized, yes, there's going to be a lot of other things that has to happen after it gets finalized. So a lot of patience is going to have to be exercised by the community. It's not going to be as simple as, oh, we got them now, everything's on Game Pass. It's never that simple. But I do think games like Diablo will be on there once that acquisition goes through. We'll probably get a Call of Duty, whatever the latest Call of Duty is, or even a classic Call of Duty put on the services. But I think we already got the answer to that when it comes if you look at the Xbox the showcase, the Diablo will probably be one of the first titles that gets put on there instantly.
Yeah, I would assume so. Instantly, right away. Yep.
Instantly, right away. That's a Diablo 4 is what I'm talking about. That title looks big, looks really ready to go. It'll be my first Diablo play. I haven't played Diablo.
Me too. I've never played one either. So I'm ready.
It'll be my thing. But I saw what they showed off in the showcase. I'm going, I can get into that.
Absolutely. I said the same thing.
That looks really good. But I see Diablo and I see whatever the latest Call of Duty is, if not the catalog of Call of Duty, But a little off here. I want them to open up the vote, man, and stop focusing so much on Call of Duty. Like, I'm a big Call of Duty guy, but the annual thing has to stop. Like, it just can't. Like, I hope this is not a one and done thing where they're doing no Call of Duty. They're doing a Call of Duty this year, Modern Warfare 2, but then no Call of Duty next year. I hope that's something that becomes normal and normalized. I know they're doing I think Treyarch is doing something there, like a mobile thing, where maybe a remake or a remaster of an old Black Ops title, something for next year, but not a major AAA new titles coming out from the Call of Duty cycle. So I honestly think, to answer that question, PTK, it's going to be Diablo. Most definitely, Diablo is going to be on there, and then Call of Duty. That's the easiest answers I can give right there.
Yeah.
But I'm excited for one of the projects that they already announced, Project L. I think Pong touched on that a little bit. That's one of the projects that Blizzard's working on that they announced. That game I can't wait to see more on.
Awesome. Okay, so I'm once again, we probably hit the nail on the head with everything we've said so far. The COD thing is interesting, right? And I guess we can get into that a little bit. We got some time. We got plenty of time today to do that. So we'll get into that a little bit because the COD thing is interesting, right, Sensei? And we talked about this on the podcast when the announcement for the acquisition was made. We talked about this, right? Like nobody really cared about where COD was at prior to the deal. COD could have been on anything. It was on everything already, right? Like COD was pretty much on everything. COD Mobile was a thing at the time. So it was. COD could have been on a toaster or a refrigerator. I don't care where. Like I don't know. Did you at the time? Like, did you care where people were playing Call of Duty?
No, I mean Call of Duty has so much power when it comes
Yeah.
to the gaming community that it could be put on anything, and you'll go play it. You're gonna go. That's how much
Absolutely.
power it has. So
That's how
for
much-
me, it didn't matter where it was on.
Yeah. So, with the idea that it's now going to, now obviously it's not probably going to be on exclusively because they're probably going to continue to make this game
Right.
multi-plat, right? It makes sense. So shout out to Uncle
makes a lot of
Mike
sense.
too. He's in the chat. Appreciate you. Shinrock Sound Gaming. Thank you. Sean, you doing a great job, brother. Thank you so much for keeping everything clean in the chat. Well, I saw you, Zinc, too. Zinc slid in here, Pong. He was a little late.
He
I don't know
slid
if
in
you
there.
got anything to say about that, Pong. He can't slide in like that.
Yeah,
No,
he can.
no.
He said made it. That's okay. He made it. We're good.
Okay.
We're good.
We need
We'll
the
see if
hot
he's
takes.
active or not. We'll see if he's active or not.
We need the hot takes. We all we need to really do is mention Yoshida. Really, that's it, right? Just to get the hot takes.
Kojima?
I said Yoshida. Kojima.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Kojima.
Kojima. Lord have mercy. Kojima. Yeah. But no. So great topic, boys, and we'll dive into this a little more. Like I said, so the Call of Duty part is really kind of funny, like I said before. But where are you at? So what I'm asking here is, as far as Call of Duty goes, where are you at on it taking that break? Where do you think the franchise needs to go? Do you think are they gonna just the break is gonna be okay? This is a little bit of time in between games. Should we come out with the next version, or do you think there's gonna be some realistic changes to the game, like fundamentally?
Here's you're asking me, right?
Yeah.
Here's what I think. I for a while I viewed it as a three-legged horse race where it was like Treyarch, Infinity Ward, and then what's that other Sledgehammer Studios, where they even attempted to add their version of Call of Duty into the rotation. And at the end of the day, it looks like Infinity Ward is the one running away with quality and innovation and something new and something different with engines, making brand new engines, creating a new mode like Warzone, which everybody plays and their mother and uncles are playing right now. At the end of the day, I think the break that they need is one, first and foremost, stop annualizing the title, that franchise. Stop doing that. And the second thing is just have Infinity Ward, which is obviously the studio that's come out and produced the most quality Call of Duty's innovative and new modes, introducing new modes that is popular in the Call of Duty world space. I think let them continue like releasing their titles. Like let's say Modern Warfare 2, they already said it's a 2-year support. Let them create the next Call of Duty and then just keep doing the 2 to 3 year cycle on whatever Call of Duty comes out. I don't think it's the innovative part that's lacking, because when Infinity Ward creates a Modern Warfare, you expect something different almost every time, something new and something refreshing for the Call of Duty community. What I think needs to happen is the post-launch support is the lack of, because it's, even though Infinity Ward doesn't release a game every 2 years, but there's still a Call of Duty coming out every single year. So the moment a Modern Warfare game drops from Infinity Ward, they're already working on the next one with some of that team. A handful, maybe 10, 15, I would say, stays behind to keep supporting the title that's in the market at the moment until the next one comes out. So I think the post support is where they're lacking at. And I think that move to go every 2 years and having this Modern Warfare coming out this year, being supported postly for 2 years, that's a big first step into making this franchise great again, in my opinion. But I think that's what they should end up doing. Just go ahead and just have one of these studios. In this case, in my fan world here,
Yeah.
I think Infinity Ward should be the one to take the mantle on that, because they've proven themselves to be the most consistent studio when it comes to what they release. and then let Sledgehammer. I think they already did this, but demote them to just support studio. I say demote. That's not a bit. That's not to me. That's not a demotion. Support studios is just as important as anybody else. But let them, handle or put them on different projects so they can innovate because they have talent on their team. When it comes to Treyarch, when it comes to Sledgehammer and the rest of the developers under that umbrella, there's a lot of talent there, and they're letting a lot of these IPs that they're famous for, Activision's famous for, just go wayside. There's a lot there in that treasure chest they could just unlock and go. You know what I want? Here's a dream of mine, or something I wish Xbox would end up doing once they get this acquisition done. Something like a Smash Brothers on the Microsoft side.
Everybody's been saying that.
You got all these IPs. You got Master Chief, Doom God. You got so much out there. The Call of Duty with Price and Ghost. You got a lot of these characters now under your wing. Crash Bandicoot's gonna be part of your portfolio. Do a fighting melee style, Smash Brothers style kind of a game. Is what I think. But when so I don't get away too much from what you asked. I think Infinity Ward should go forward with creating what they create because they're the masters of the Call of Duty universe at the moment. Actually, for the last couple of Call of Duty's dropped, it's been them. And then let the others that were part of that rotation just drop back and let them create something that they probably been wanting to create for quite a while. I'm sure they pitched so many projects that's got killed because of Call of Duty. So hopefully with this acquisition, they have that lenience, that freedom to go back into look, I had something that I pitched a while ago, and Microsoft goes do it.
Yeah, no, that's and once again, that's kind of traditionally how we've seen, Microsoft and Xbox handle their acquisitions in the studios. That's kind of autonomous, right? They just allow them autonomy, do what kind of what you're here for, use your abilities. We're just going to take all the other burdens and, all the other stuff away and make it really easy and give you this huge network of studios and technology and money that you've never really had before type of support. So, and I'm going to throw this same question to my guys here. I need Pong and Fuzz as far as like what should, like he said, this Modern Warfare is going to be supported for the next 2 years, but you guys think we're getting a fundamental change in Call of Duty this next one, or are we just getting a break?
No, I think there's a fundamental change going on. I like where Sensei is going. I have it laid out a little bit differently than he does, but to the same effect, I think you make this a two-man rotation, a two-studio rotation, and that's Infinity Ward and Treyarch. They are the two most quality studios, so you let them alternate, and you do go to a 2 to 3 year cycle. With that. And I think that those two right there have solidified themselves as the best Call of Duty devs out there. You just let them rotate, okay?
Yeah, Zombies is arguably the biggest game mode. You could argue.
Correct, and Black Ops is the second best to Modern Warfare overall, right? So I think you let those two teams stay. Those two teams alternate. Give them 2 to 3 years. If they need 3 years, cool. Give them 3 years, right? You pull Sledgehammer off. You let Sledgehammer go do something else, okay? And here's my full plan. I'd love to see Raven Software come off of supporting Warzone. Unfortunately, they're so damn good at it that you'll have a hard time justifying it. So what I would do is I would beef up Raven Software. I would let them start expanding and get a bigger team, and then let some of the original devs that are still there at Raven Software who did other things like Hexen back in the day and those such games that Phil talked about specifically, you let them break away from Raven Software, maybe create a whole separate studio, maybe keep them under Raven Software, but just let them work on a separate project outside of Warzone. But you got to keep the stability on Warzone because Warzone is really, at this point, the engine that moves Call of Duty, okay? It really has become that big, and Warzone 2.0 is probably going to take it to another level. So you keep that stability there. Let Sledgehammer go off on their own. And then what you do is you go, your next acquisition after this deal is done is Certain Affinity. You lock them up completely, okay? Certain Affinity has so much talent. They have worked on so many games, including Halo, Call of Duty, right? You've got that in-house, and now they're doing a separate title for you, a brand new IP that's a Monster Hunter variant, right? So what you do is you go get Certain Affinity, and then what you do is you go on a hiring spree for Certain Affinity, like they've done with everybody else. You open up the doors to Certain Affinity, and you start pulling talent in so that they can go ahead. They can be one of your main support studios for DLC for Call of Duty, DLC for Halo, and then also create their own titles on the side for you, brand new IP. If this Monster Hunter game takes off, great, fantastic. Then they've got another IP underneath their belt. But that would be my plan right there. And then you break off the Toys for Bobs. You get them back to doing what they do, Crash, whatever the case may be. Spyro, if you want to reignite Spyro again. You break off all these other little studios again. You bring back Guitar Hero. I think Guitar Hero has a place in this market now. It's been gone for long enough. So you get those devs, get the band back together, pun intended, and you get Guitar Hero rolling out. I think that's the perfect plan here. Now, obviously, again, this acquisition is going to take a long time to assimilate everybody into Microsoft and Xbox. Make that, that change internally that's needed. But I think that that's how you start this process and you get to that good space. Again, Call of Duty is always going to be gigantic, but now under Microsoft and Xbox, it doesn't have to be that yearly release anymore. It's not that vital anymore. They've got Warzone. They also have Call of Duty Mobile, which everybody forgets because it's underneath Tencent. It's outside of the norm with Activision Blizzard, but that is a money maker. And to Xbox and Microsoft, they don't have the need to impress the investment group from one game each and every year anymore, like Activision Blizzard did. So that gives a whole lot of freedom here to play around with, to get this right, to make sure that every Call of Duty that comes out, like Modern Warfare 2 is looking. Don't forget, we've been hearing some leaks out of Modern Warfare 2. This isn't going to be simply just Modern Warfare 2 redone and brought up to date with maybe a couple new maps. They're talking about having potentially a forge within Call of Duty that's going to allow you to play within the sandbox and maybe create some of your own kind of maps out here too. If they start opening that kind of stuff up, look, all bets are off. That means you can go longer with development cycles because you're going to have constant content from the community. You drop your normal maps, your normal DLC roadmap. You continue to support it for 2 to 3 years. You're good. That's going to continue to draw people.
Map editors are awesome. Underrated in games nowadays.
Yes,
they're underrated.
Oh, for sure.
Very underrated. We do not get enough games that have map editors and good sandboxes. Like I know Halo's coming out with theirs, and that co-op is looking beautiful, and we might get into that. As a matter of fact, I'm probably going to bring it up as one of the questions because I was excited about what I heard about co-op. But I think that's a super underrated feature. So I do want to make sure we throw this over to Fuzz and get his opinion on as far as like Call of Duty changing fundamentally after this break. Like obviously the dev cycle is probably going to change. It's probably be a normal thing, maybe a year or two in between actual like large Call of Duty titles outside of Warzone, which is always going to be annual, and it's probably always going to continue to be updated annually. But where you at? Is this Call of Duty is we getting a break or are we getting something completely different?
I think we need a break, like push it to every 2 years. I like what both Sensei and Pong were saying as far as kind of like an alternating setup or at least space it out so you're not pushing it every year. Because, I mean, you have Warzone to do that. If anything, have annual updates as far as maybe map locations or something along those lines for Warzone. But just make Call of Duty like an every other year thing. Alternate it between like kind of like what Pong was saying with Treyarch and Infinity Ward, and go forward from there. As far as the overall with Call of Duty, I kind of want to see other iterations. Like there are other games out there that are first person, and there are other games that are third person. And not that I really need a Call of Duty third person game, but I think they
that's kind of a neat idea, I guess. You really think about it, I guess.
Yeah, have a try at it at least, especially if you're going to be able to space things out where you don't have to push it every year. Try a few different approaches on it.
You know what I would like, and Pong would love this. A Call of Duty RTS would be kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean,
absolutely, of course. Let's go.
Yeah, I mean, now that they have the IP, and there's so much to draw from as far as like all the iterations, whether it be Black Ops, Modern Warfare, or even going back to World War II, you have tons of assets as far as designs and things that you could probably use just on a different scale. As far as for like an RTS, I think that would be an awesome idea to give that a try.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Have it as like a maybe it starts on PC to kind of test the waters, but of course bring it to console, especially that they're now working on having like a keyboard and mouse support even on the cloud and everything. So I think there's definitely room for more versions of Call of Duty. Just don't push it every freaking year like they have been. And like you said, they don't have to worry about a board that is going to be checking the boxes to see if they made enough money from the sales of the game.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not that they don't need to make sales from the game, but it's a lot less pressure, especially considering how the whole subscription service is set up. It's more about the engagement. It's more about the subscriber numbers and that reoccurring income from that. So I think that gives them a lot more freedom to test things out, because remasters are good, but it's time to go and try some new stuff. I mean,
they try to do that almost every Call of Duty that's come out in the past few years, where they'll bring out an old map and they'll just introduce it back into these more modern.
Yeah, they've done that quite frequently.
They do that, quite free, especially since they went to that whole everybody gets the maps model, where they took away the map passes.
Yeah.
But it's interesting you guys say RTS, because Treyarch tried their hand on that with one of the Black Ops. I believe it was Black Ops 3, where they tried their hand on that in the campaign. It was really light, but they tried the RTS, and it was quite enjoyable. It was different from Call of Duty experience, and I wish they would have kept supporting that kind of concept in Call of Duty, because Call of Duty RTS would be amazing.
Oh, dude, it's such a good damn idea. Not because I said it, but it's such a good damn idea. I just think the franchise is perfect for that type of game as well. So, and it's crazy because we didn't really talk about this, and I guess we'll get into this before we start getting to the questions. And I want to make sure chat knows we are now taking questions here in a second. So before we get to that, drop your questions in chat. We want to hear what you guys, obviously we can't get to everything. We might, miss some things this week. So let us know right now. Drop them down in the chat so we can get to all your questions. We'll get to as many as we can fit into the rest of the show. So drop now if you guys want us to get into it. But I do want to talk about Game Pass a little bit and the impact that being able to put, I don't know how many Call of Duties are going to be able to put on Game Pass. I mean, I guess we're assuming all of them will be available, but I mean, that could be the case, could not be the case. But I want to get general opinion on what type of impact, once this deal finalizes, it's going to have on Game Pass, as far as, we get into the numbers, where they need to be and certain numbers that they need to hit for it to be like more sustainable at this point, very similar to any other subscription service. There's targets, right, that they have to hit to make everything make sense. So I want to throw this to you first, Sensei, kind of where you at on, how is this going to affect Game Pass?
Tremendously huge. Think about it this way. I'll take you a little journey. When Xbox had it on 360 with the exclusivity of the map passes that they have, where we got it first in 360, then it came to other consoles afterwards, that community was there. The moment it switched over to PlayStation having the exclusivity, it's not that people wanted to go to PlayStation and wanted to go to Xbox. The community shifted over to PlayStation, whether it be the streamers, whether it be the casual players, the hardcore players, the competitive players. They all switched over to that side, because that's where the game was being played first and fresh, fresh content, as they called it at the time when they were marketing that way. So Call of Duty going on Game Pass is a huge, big time subscribe pusher. It's just going to push the crap out of subscription services or new subscribers when it comes to Call of Duty. Honestly, I think that when that deal does drop, that announcing any kind of Call of Duty, whether it just be one Call of Duty or any Call of Duty on that, it's going to be a huge deal. Now, it's kind of tricky because you still have that deal in place with PlayStation, where they get that first dibs to things, and they have, I don't know how long that's going to run. I believe it's like 3 more years or whatever, or something like that. We're still running. So that's going to be the tricky part. So subscription services for newer Call of Duties may not be a thing on Game Pass, maybe the older ones. And let's not forget that the older Call of Duty titles, to this day, you can still jump online and still play those games. And I'm talking about all the way back to World at War, and the first Black Ops, the first mod. You can still play those games today. Those servers are still alive. Granted, and it may not be great games because it's hacked to death and mods are there, but you can still play those games today. So it may not be the latest Call of Duty that drops on Game Pass, but I think dropping a Call of Duty game on Game Pass will push subscriptions tremendously.
Okay, so I want to throw the same question, Fuzz and Pong, just to kind of wrap up the topics here, and then we'll dive into these questions. So anybody want to just take that?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and take it. I mean, I think, again, since I said it perfectly, it's going to be a huge mover. Between that and the Riot Games deal, once that goes live, look, I think they could easily double that 25 million in the next couple of years with Call of Duty thrown in the mix. I think they could be at 50 quicker than they ever hit 25. And I think that, again, there's that and again, I call it casual, but again, plenty of hardcore, quote unquote, which I hate using that term, gamers play Call of Duty on a regular basis, right? So that, again, I just think that when you establish that, even if it remains multi-plat, which we all believe it will, just having it in Game Pass automatically identifies it that now Call of Duty is back on Xbox. Not that it hasn't been there, but with the marketing rights on PlayStation, the way that PlayStation geniusly always has done it, they kind of took over that. Like Sensei said, people just moved where their friends were playing Call of Duty, Madden, all of the normal stuff. Again, the normies out there, which is the biggest portion of the gaming market, they just go where their friends are playing. And the minute that everybody finds out that Xbox can start slapping sticker on boxes, Call of Duty available Game Pass, every single Call of Duty, once that happens, available in Game Pass. Like Sensei said, people still go back, play the old games. People still play zombies to this day from all the blops. Again, that is just a huge advantage swing to Xbox. PlayStation knows that they're prepping for it. Again, they paid huge money to get the marketing rights because it drove huge numbers of sales. All of that shifts towards Xbox's side as soon as that Call of Duty once again becomes known as an Xbox franchise. And again, this time it's first party, but it just in general, even for the people out there, the masses who don't follow deals like we do, who may not even realize Activision Blizzard is owned by Xbox, once they figure out that Call of Duty, all the DLC, whatever the case may be, special drops available in Game Pass Ultimate, special skins available, for whatever the case may be, sales on the Battle Pass, whatever Microsoft decides to do with Call of Duty, that's going to move Game Pass numbers huge, and Series S sales are going to go through the roof. It's just going to happen. We've seen it every generation, so it's going to make waves.
All right, Fuzz, on you, bro.
No, I think both Sensei and Pong put it, perfectly. This the whole thing with Call of Duty being in Game Pass, I think that's that's going to be the big game changer that everybody will be talking about come holiday season and beyond. Once that ink is dry, like Pong was saying, when people associate Call of Duty with Xbox, I won't say it's game over, but it will definitely. Even now, I think when they first announced that Activision deal, where you saw a few stores putting in, signs warning about careful on your console choice or something to that effect, I think it'll definitely be more widespread after that fact. But it's going to be I guess a huge win for Microsoft as far as trying to get subscriber numbers. They're probably hovering somewhere around the 30 mil mark, and like Bong said, they'll get to 50, a lot faster than they did for the first 25. So I can't wait for that time frame, and the perks that we get as ultimate owners and or ultimate subscribers, I guess you could say. And let's see how that family plan tier comes in. I think at that point it will be a huge influx for Game Pass in general after that.
Yeah, no, I agree with that too. COD is huge. Once again, I know we talk about the latest iterations and them not being up to par as far as quality, things like that. The game is still gigantic. It still moves the most games, the most units every year, annually on every console, on PC as well. So I do fully expect that to be a huge deal once that deal gets completely finalized.
And just imagine too, if Modern Warfare 2 turns out to be what we think it's going to be, from all signs, how well they are marketing this and how just in overall general, from what we've seen, they are nailing this out of the park. They are not fumbling it like Battlefield. The Vanguard is going to be forgotten. And some of the people who kind of dropped off of Call of Duty maybe this past year because Vanguard wasn't the greatest and maybe still are playing Modern Warfare 1, the remake from 2018, they're going to come flooding in, and Call of Duty is going to be back on top again, even though it already was this year. It's going to do regular Call of Duty numbers from its prime era because Modern Warfare alone harkens back to the pinnacle of Call of Duty. And if they pull it off and they kind of reinvent it again, and they do some of the stuff that we're hearing potentially is going to happen in this one, look, all bets are off how big Call of Duty gets again. Again, it could be the juggernaut that we all have come to know and love or hate, depending on your taste. It is going to be that, and it's going to become at the perfect time when Microsoft closes this acquisition. Like, Microsoft couldn't have planned this out any better.
Oh, yeah, it looks like Modern Warfare 2 is I mean, it's hitting all the check boxes right now. If you look at the markers, like the marketing happening on point, all the upvoting on YouTube videos are happening. Even the leakers and the sources and the insiders are coming out, which hasn't really happened for a Call of Duty title in quite some time, where that community gets all involved and like, oh, I got a new leak and I got a new screenshot for you. That's happening. Like, this is changing. That's happening. There hasn't been that much motivation or consent in the Call of Duty community in such a long time, and it's hitting all the right notes when it comes to this game. So, I mean, all signs are pointing to it being a great Call of Duty. You just got to have it in our hands, see how it plays. The beta's coming out soon, so
yeah, and we'll definitely be able to see that too. So we got high hopes for Call of Duty. So we're gonna get into some questions here. All right, so this is the you guys' chance to control the remaining portion of the show. I already got a couple questions queued up. So shout out to you, Focus Active, for hanging out, bro. I see you in here every single week. Appreciate you hanging out with us. So he said, and you're gonna love this question, Pong. So after the deal closes, do you think MS waits for ABK to be integrated before the next acquisition? Market conditions are prime for sellers in the short term.
We
know what Pong would do if you gave him the
yeah. No, I'd be I'd be battling in court right now over monopolies, real monopolies right now, because I'd be buying up everything. Listen, big acquisitions, I think that will still be on hold until they get the majority of Activision Blizzard acquainted with This isn't a ZeniMax deal. ZeniMax was big, right? ZeniMax was a big deal. It almost doubled Xbox, right? Now they're going to double that again with Activision Blizzard, but ZeniMax, you gotta remember, had a great relationship with Xbox. They were working hand in hand. Todd and Phil are friends outside of the industry. Like, this was like the easiest transition period ever when they acquired ZeniMax, because they already knew. They knew
anyway.
They knew how they both worked. The organization wise, they were very similar. Like, this was no big deal. Activision Blizzard is a whole remodeling project, right? This is a house flipper project. This is going to take some time. So I think another big giant, another publisher, I think, is on hold until they get they get all these people assimilated in, and they make sure that Activision Blizzard, because it's going to run, it's not going to be under Booty. They're going to report directly to Phil. So again, it's going to be like ZeniMax. They're going to be running their own ship over there to some degree. So they're going to have to make sure all that's in working order, and there's no kind of kinks left over from, the previous ownership group, right? So I think that's first and foremost. But I think smaller acquisitions will come. And I think that there's already some lined up, some that we heard about, last year, even a year and a half ago, the IOs, the Avalanches, and like I said, Certain Affinity, I think, is the one you jump all over and you wrap them up and you bring them into the fold immediately. So I think some of those smaller studio purchases we will hear about as soon as this acquisition closes. Maybe not like the following week or anything, but I think rolling into fiscal year 2024, I think that's when we may see some of those smaller deals finally come to fruition.
Yeah. No, and once again, this is a great question, because we've talked about this like at intervals on different shows about like what's going to happen right after, and like acquisitions, and should that still happen. Now, we've always subscribed, and I think everybody's of the idea on this podcast. I don't know exactly where you're at on this, Sensei. We'll get to you here. That like maybe there are things that could have happened if this deal wasn't still pending, right? Like maybe there are other things that could have happened along the way. Maybe other deals could have been made, maybe even planned already, until this dropped in their lap, right, Sensei? Because let's be honest, this deal the whole timing of the Activision Blizzard stuff, this fell right in their lap. Like, this fell right in their lap. Perfect timing. Getting the
pretty
deal.
Much did.
Yeah, it fell right in their lap. If everything
it fell right in their lap. Yeah, I mean, when it comes to the we're not privy to the corporate talk, obviously. These conversations happen in the background for months and years at a time before it even happened. But this Activision deal did fall on their lap. It's one of those things where I believe it wasn't reported where they spoke at one point to do it, but then they dropped out of it. And as soon as that whole news came out with what was going on in Activision and the accusations of what was going on with the sexual, harassments and all that stuff, like it fell right back in the lap, and that kind of got the ball rolling again. But as far as I'm with Pong, as far as bigger, like another acquisition, the size of this is not. I don't think there's anything bigger than this, but the size of this or anything close to it, they have to. This is huge. The whole Activision thing is not as simple as the ink dries and we're good. That's it. Everything's coming over. There's like Pong. He talked about this earlier, where there's hundreds and thousands of employers or employees that are at this company. You got to talk about HR. You got to talk about the marketing department. You got to talk about the wingspan they have across the globe. It's not just in the States, across the globe, and all the hurdles they got to cross on that, and how they're going to implement the agreements and contracts already in place when this deal happens, such like Sony with the exclusivity on Call of Duty and other and such other things. It's not as simple as just saying, okay, we got this deal, let's go to the next one. They might have that next one already loaded, but again, these conversations, they're probably already happening in the background, but these conversations between corporations they already talk about in the background. It's just a matter of timing. Is it the right time to call this out? Do we want to, pull the trigger on it right now? Because they might be having conversations right now with other big corporations, but they're not going to pull the trigger until it's the right time. Also, they got to, in my opinion, they got to figure out once this comes over and this ink dries, how are they going to implement this to Game Pass? Like at the way it runs right now, we have third party, day and dates and first party day and dates.
Yeah,
and as it stands right now, it rotates out. They'll take out 5 and bring in 5, and that's how it rotates. Can they fit all of this in the catalog and go, okay, now how like they have to condense this and streamline it and make it make more sense, such as like categories and within Game Pass subcategories saying, hey, we have Activision here. Here's the Cinemax stuff and Bethesda stuff. Like that's gonna have to happen where they make it more streamlined. Once they get this studio, because there's a lot of stuff happening there.
A lot of content, man.
A lot of content, and that's what you want when it comes to subscription service. You want the content.
Oh, this is a great problem that Xbox has. This is an amazing problem.
It's an absolute great problem to have. But I do think Xbox is, Xbox is, or Microsoft, I should say, is Microsoft. They said, they already stated publicly they're not done shopping. They're gonna go out there and get more. But as it stands right now, I think that's on hold because of this acquisition. It's a huge acquisition when it comes to the Blizzard Activision side of things, and not just on the gaming side of things, but the political side of things. There's a lot of hurdles they gotta climb there and go through. Yes, the ink may be dry. Some people are saying in the chat the ink, may be dry and it's waiting, or the deal's done, but the ink gotta dry. I get all that, but it's not as simple as, okay, now that the deal is announced, it's done. Don't expect everything to just jump on Game Pass that day. It's gonna take a while. Don't expect for another acquisition to be announced, if any, big or small, to be announced anytime soon. Because they gotta make sure this fits right. They gotta make sure they implement this right and flow it out, right. As far as content goes on the subscription base. So
there's a lot of moving parts. This is a gigantic deal. I want to get to Shonsu's question, and I'm gonna throw the question directly to you, Fuzz, because game I think we're all looking forward to as well. Shout out to you, Shonsu. And once again, chat, drop your questions in the chat. We appreciate every single question. We'll try and get to as many as we possibly can with the time we have. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us, man. Hit the like button if you have not. If you're new, hope you are enjoying the show. Okay. So we got Shonsu Mod of the Year. He said, how do you feel about the co-op story progression in Redfall being limited to the host? Now, before you answer this, me and Fuzz are Division 2 players. Right? So I just want to throw that out there.
You can add me to that.
Yeah, and Sensei, we got thousands of hours between the both of us in Division 2, Division 1 and 2. Probably the three of us. Pong as well. I know Pong's played quite a bit of Division as well.
It was one of my top 5 played games when the Xbox anniversary came out. So
same here too. So we are big Division players. Just want to throw that out there. But go ahead, Fuzz.
I'm fine with the limited progression. It would be nice if everybody got the progression aspect as far as the story and everything is concerned. But as long as you get the gear, as long as
that's all we care about, baby. The loot.
Yeah,
we just need the loot.
That's the key thing there. That as long as that progresses, I'm fine with the rest because it gives it a little bit more replayability. Like right now, we're kind of going through some of the limited progression when it comes to the Division. I mean, the main story stuff everybody gets the progress on completing that particular mission, but when it comes to hunting like some of the VIPs or some of the rogue agents and things like that, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't
and
work.
a lot of times you still got to go back and do the mission on your map. You gotta, it'll show completed, but it'll still show the mission highlighted on your own map, like you're playing solo or you're in your own instance, I should say.
And it adds to replayability, which I like that, because I enjoy the game. So going back and redoing the missions is, like something I'd probably wind up doing anyway. So I at this point in time, I'm totally fine with it, as long as the loot and everything carries over, which they've already stated it will. That was like the main concern aspect. As far as story progression, if they could fix that or make it so everybody gets the progression, great. But I know they're probably not going to make that as much of a priority, just for the fact that everybody would complete the story and then they would probably stop playing as much. So it is what it is. But for me, it's not the end. It's not a game breaker or deal breaker for me.
And on top of that, we have no idea what the roadmap is for this game. DLC down the line, if they have planned for season, anything. I don't know. We don't know where they're going with this, how large they want to make this game, as far as how long they plan to support it. That could lead a lot into like what type of game this ends up being. But at the end of the day, we're here for the loot.
Yeah,
that's it. I'm a big Destiny fan. Baby. Exactly. I'm a big Destiny fan. I play a lot of that. I'm big into these types of games. I put a lot of hours into, Division 2, Division 1 as well. All I need to do, I don't care about the progress. I can go back and play. You can come to my world and play. Yeah. You know what I mean? Whatever. We'll get it done at some point in time. I'm cool. Just give me the drops, the rewards at the end, and the XP. That's all I'm there for anyway. And
that's what I'm here for.
So I'm cool with that. I have no problem. So I don't know if anybody want to. Sounds like we're on the same page, but I don't know if anybody ever want to take over.
I want to shout out Bubba Fett Gaming for bringing a Bullet King. OG.
Oh, yeah, the OG. Buzz. That's Buzz over there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The Bullet King from Division 1 and then the actual machine gun for Division 2. I got that.
Yeah. I think in 2022, I don't like it. I'm not going to say that it's a deal killer. But because of how it was explained, and I forget the gentleman's name, forgive me, I didn't look it up. But the one of the directors from Redfall had a great interview where he explained, because that exact question, that's where it started, because he was asked that question directly, and he said, as of right now, this is how it's set up. But his only reasoning for it was because they didn't want to break up the story flow if you went back to your game, right, to your world. They didn't want to have it so that you could skip things that you did, because let's say you jumped into your buddy's mission and it was like mission 3, and then you went back to your world and you had to replay, 2. They didn't want to give you the opportunity. They didn't want to break up the story in your own timeline. And I have an issue with that, because it is 2022, because this game is fundamentally set up as a single player experience. That's from the devs themselves. This game was made to be played as a single player experience. And if you want to have some buddies join, great. But overall, it's still a single player experience. I think they should give us the option to skip something that we've already played, whether it's in our world or whether it's in somebody else's world. Again, saving your level, keeping all your loot. Yes, that's fundamentally the most important thing. But I think in 2022, we've seen enough examples where it is a pain in the butt. Steele and I have been playing Dying Light 2. We've been playing Dying Light 2 underneath my world. Now, if I want to jump into Steele's world, well, nothing's open because we haven't played in his world at all. And if he just wants to hop in his single player to complete some stuff, well, he's got to start all over from scratch again. So I think that this game being set up from the get-go as a single-player experience, I think does kind of suck, that if I play underneath, somebody else's game, that if I just want to hop in, I got some free time, nobody else is around, and I want to hop in and do the single-player stuff, and I've already done a bunch of missions, I think those missions should be open. And I think they should be already completed. And if I want to replay them, give me the option to replay them. But otherwise, I should be able to skip them because I've already done the work somewhere else. That's my only point to this. I hope they change their minds. Again, he wasn't like dead set. He said, as of right now, this is how we have it. So I think they're still open to changing it. So maybe they'll hear some feedback on it and decide there's a better way to do this. That's just my personal opinion. Personal,
I love that opinion. And
Yeah.
if you don't mind, PTK,
No, go ahead.
I will chime in here.
No, go ahead.
Everybody has and what I love about this panel is that everybody has a great valid point to this. Everybody comes because it's not one side of the coin. It's always different perspectives. When you come at it for a single player, like if you're a single player kind of guy, you enjoy a campaign, you want to go through it. I see what Pong is talking about. A solution like that, what he just mentioned, where it's like allow me to at least skip it if I already played it with a buddy of mine. That's something that's an easy, solution to something that's on a grand scale could be a problem for someone who wants to experience the campaign. But when you come to it from what PTK or Fuzzy saying, even myself, the whole looted, I want to loot. That's what I want. I want the highest gear. I just want the XPs to come over. I can care less about the story. I see it that route too. But then you look at the achievement hunting community, that's a problem for them as well, because if they have to start the whole thing all over again and all they got left is 2 achievements, that's towards the end of the game. Now they either have to wait for their buddy to get online and play on that file or play the whole entire thing themselves. So there's not an easy answer here. I think everybody's correct and right in their opinion. But I really think what Pong said is it hits it on the nail. Like give people a skip option. If I already played it with Pong and I go back to my game file and it's from the beginning and I've already played it, let me know, hey, you played this. You want to play it again or you want to skip it? As far as replay value goes, I think that'll help, man. But it's one of those things where I have to take a step back, and it's like anything else in the gaming business. Something gets talked about in an interview, and a lot of the knee-jerk reactions do tend to happen. Now, he did mention, as of right now, this is how it plays. It can change. It can definitely change through an update. But yeah, it is bad for those who are wanting to experience a single-player side of things and not worry about the like just collecting stuff. It is worrisome. I do hope that they have, I'm not sure if they mentioned this, I do hope that they have game files, like separate game files you can do, where I have one game file to play with my co-op buddy, and then I have a game file that I set up for my solo playthrough. Like I hope that's a thing in this game as well.
That could be something.
That's what I wanted. Like that, I think that's it's fair to say what everybody's saying on this panel.
And I'll give them credit too. This is off topic, but it's on Redfall. The credit I do give the team is they made a decision to allow, if you are playing multiplayer, everybody can play the same character, which is awesome. That is really, really cool. I was so happy to hear that. So,
and you can't play. The AI won't join you on your solo play. It's just you.
Right.
There's no
it's
AI.
just you. And that's how they built it from the ground up for that. And they added on the multiplayer aspect. But I thought that was great because a lot of times people were like, no, come on, I really want to play this character. Okay, fine. I guess I'll just go play this one. But if you got a favorite character and your buddy has a favorite character that happens to be the same one, allowing you both to play that is phenomenal. And that was a great decision.
Oh, man, Pong, you just triggered my Ninja Turtles.
Hey, exactly.
I want to play as Donnie. Stop picking Donnie, man.
Awesome, man. We're big Donatello fans here, all of us here. So you already know how that goes. But yeah, no. Once again, we're gonna move on to another topic. Essentially, another question from the chat. Once again, drop your questions down in chat. Let us know what you guys want us to talk about. If we haven't covered it, you guys know what we do here at the Shop Podcast. Appreciate everybody. You got Uncle Mike 3-Bit. I think 3-Bit did change the logo up. I know somebody mentioned that. I think he did switch it up a little bit. Looking snazzy. Boba Fett hanging out with us. Lore Master Jasper, shout out to you as well. Now, I believe Uncle Mike did ask a question. He said, why hasn't there been a COD-like MMO? That's a great question. I mean, I don't know if anybody want to dive in on that.
That would be kind of cool to have something along those lines. Like, I mean, yeah,
I don't know how that
having
would work,
having
though.
an MMO for like fantasy stuff is great, but like you build your own soldier, whether it be like a special forces or something along those lines. I think that would actually be pretty cool.
I guess you could have different classes, right?
Yeah, like and incorporate vehicles. I mean, just make it like. Hopefully, that's what Armor 4 will kind of hopefully allow for. but yeah, that would be a pretty cool concept. I would definitely be down for it. I mean, considering I'm playing things like Insurgency and stuff like that, yeah, I would be up for that.
Fuzzy, we gotta get an Insurgency. I keep seeing you hop on and play the Insurgency. I'm like, oh, I gotta play that game with him. Love Insurgency.
Fuzz all over it. All over it. So, anybody else want to tackle this too? I don't know if any.
I mean, Call of Duty over the years, it's been well documented. There's good videos out there too. I recently watched one like about a couple of weeks ago where they go through the timeline of projects that were being pitched and even at some point even created, and the IP was a working title, but then Activision pulled the plug on it. And I believe one of them was supposed to be an MMO centered around something like the Rise, where it was like those Roman times. It was supposed to be something centered around that with MMO, but for whatever reason they pulled the plug. And when you have when you have to satisfy the board, and all they're thinking about is the quick money, like they return on investment, something that's safe, they tend to pull the plug on things like that, especially when they haven't tried it. And every year is the same title that comes out that people end up buying anyways. They didn't want to shake, I guess they didn't want to hit the beehive on that one and take a risk. But a COD MMO would be pretty interesting. I would like to see a COD MMO. They have the right property. I mean, the right characters, the right world. If you think about Blobs or Modern Warfare, you have the right property to do these things with. They're already doing it with their story. Just got to make it on a grander scale.
It would have to be a grander scale with mission-based systems. So basically, you wind up with a
Yes.
first-person shooter Division style.
Ooh.
But you would have to open it up to make it an MMO so that it's like any of the other fantasy
Yes.
MMOs where you can just join in like giant battles. Like that would be amazing. Like if they had that, like where you could run like dungeons, but obviously it wouldn't be a dungeon, but
Yeah,
but you're running,
you
you got some kind of boss battle where you're like attacking some fortification and you got to work together to work your way up, like you were fighting out like a fierce battle, like D-Day, right? Basically.
Yeah.
D-Day,
So you'd have to take positions and that kind of stuff. You could pull it off. That would be very interesting. That would be pretty crazy to set it up that way.
They got the right prop, the right world for they could do it.
Yeah, they could do it, but a mission-based first-person shooter MMO military. That would be pretty
Yeah,
interesting.
that's unique too. I don't think anything's like that been done in a space either.
Arma, to a certain degree, I guess you could consider it like that in a way, because you are taking positions, but you're still limited. It's not like MMO, straight MMO.
Yeah.
You do have bigger, you obviously have more players, but yeah, that's an interesting take. It would be interesting to see somebody who develops games work out what that would be like problem-wise, having modern day military, because we see it all the time with, I always look at this as like, if you can do magic spells, you could do modern military, because obviously magic kind of takes the place of, modern weapons, assault rifles and that kind of stuff. So yeah, that would be curious. I wonder if somebody out there is already thinking about that. That would be interesting.
We're known for giving away $1 trillion ideas.
Yeah,
on
we
this
are.
podcast.
We are.
That's kind of one of our claim to fame. I don't know if you know, since you've been watching for a while. We give away hella ideas. Fuzz, me, Pong. So yeah, somebody's made a lot of money off this podcast.
Different classes. You have different classes, different skill sets. Like people could be able to drive.
Already going.
Some people could drive vehicles versus others, or you'd have access to better vehicles over others. Everybody would be able to drive, but you wouldn't necessarily be able to drive like
skill
trees or whatever else.
Yeah.
I'm already writing up the trademarks, man.
Run it up, man. We need all of that. We need you to get together with, because Fuzz got some great goddamn Forza ideas. I don't know what Turn 10 or Playground is doing. They need to get that man on board ASAP. Somebody cut him a check and get him on a flight for sure. But we're gonna get to some more questions. Anybody got any more questions in chat? Oh, I did say we wanted to talk a little bit about this Halo co-op, the information we got. So while we're talking about this, chat, drop a few more questions. We got maybe like 20 minutes to go on the show. So drop some more questions. But I want to get into this co-op because what I'm hearing, I know Halo's been the PR hasn't really been where it's needed to be. There's been a lot of negative stuff going on as far as the in-house stuff and all of that kind of stuff. But I am excited about what I'm hearing about co-op. I know it's a long time coming. A lot of people saying, it should have been there from the get-go. I understand all of that. I get the frustration, but goddamn it, I'm excited about what I'm hearing about this. So I want to go around the panel here, just get everybody's general opinion on some of the new information we got about co-op and how it's going to work and some of the new things they're implementing. So we'll start with you, Sensei. Just kind of where you at. Did you see the news? Did you, and kind of what are you excited about?
I did. I've been keeping a really close eye on the Halo universe and what's going on.
Amongst the muck, we cut through the BS.
Yes. So I've been keeping an eye on it. Look, I'm gonna be honest with you. When they announced this game was a 10-year project, I bought all in on that, and I know how live service project works. I know when to take a break on it, when to come back. So currently on Halo, I'm taking a break until co-op drops. I want to really run a lasso achievement run with anybody who's interested when co-op drops, because that's the one achievement I got left on campaign. But when I saw what they dropped on co-op, I'm going, bro, this is not just your normal, shoot the mill co-op. This is going to be something very interesting, and it looks like you're not going to be tethered. And that's the biggest thing for me, because a lot of the concern for me was, is it going to be tethered? Because the old Halo co-op days,
You are tethered.
You are.
You're tethered to a point. Well, and the
You
old
are.
ones you're not. And this one you are.
Yes,
Yeah.
this
You
one you
are.
are.
But it's like
Okay.
a thousand
like-
meters.
it's like a
or
But it's not
thousand-
like. But it's
1,000
not,
meters.
and they're doing a good job of
Yeah.
not even making it look like it's tethered. Because I saw them, like, the way they were apart from each other, looked like they were like pretty far off each other. So
Yeah.
I can't wait for the co-op to drop. I like the news, but not just co-op, but the Forge. The Forge information that's coming out. I don't know about you guys, but I love map creators. I love sandbox.
I told you,
experience.
underrated feature, man.
It's just such an underrated feature that I think co-op is big for me. Yes, because I have a bunch of buddies of mine that we love playing co-op games, but also the creative side of things, like especially the way my mind works. I want to get in there and create some maps and just bring some new stuff, fresh ideas to the Halo world from my brain, to that. So when I saw what you can do so far, you've been able to do the new leaks here and there with screenshots. On the Forge side, I'm going, Jesus Christ, we're in for a treat. I just cannot wait. I think the news is coming out now, even though I know there's a lot of, again, knee-jerk reactions when it comes to Halo, and nothing Halo does can be great. Honestly, I think they should put their head down and just work on the game and just start not even engaging with the trolls. Just do whatever you got to do and get this game right. But I honestly think that once the co-op drops and once the Force drops, and everything just aligns, that we're going to start seeing fresh content, start seeing fresh ideas, especially with Forge
for the campaign at some point. I know. Yeah.
We know we're already going to get old maps. There was hints to that already with the interviews in the past with old maps coming in. But I'm interested in this co-op because I already got me and my buddy Nick. We already just can't wait for co-op to drop, because the moment that drops, it's going to be on. Like, we're going to just go with the lasso run or whatever you got to do. But that's going to be the replay value for me. And I just can't wait. And I don't have a problem, by the way. I don't have a problem with playing as two Master Chiefs. I don't understand the issue with that.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I completely ignored that. I saw some people talking
definitely
about that. I'm like, yeah, that's BS. Like, you guys are just like, we're splitting.
It's cherry picking. It's nitpicking. Yeah,
not even that serious. So
I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't. Either way, at the end of the day, the one thing I haven't heard them talk about, and I'm sure we'll get some information on this. How about scalability as far as difficulty on enemies? How is that going to be versus one Master Chief? Now you have 4 running around in the same world. How much more difficult are the enemies' missions going to be as compared to when you're just playing single player?
Yeah, because essentially it's a brand new experience in the Halo
brand
universe.
New. Yeah, for the enemies as well. They have to be tougher because you got possibly 4 grenades, 4 targets, 4 bullets shooting at you, 4 sets of bullets shooting at you. Obviously you can't just keep the enemies the same. They have to be a bit tougher, whatever the case may be. So hopefully we get some information on that. But I do want to make sure Fuzz and Pong gets to this about the co-op news. Pong, I know, you said you got some information, not got some information, but you saw the information regarding co-op as well. Where are you at on this? Just what you read.
Hey, casual Halo fan here. So here we go. Looking forward to co-op. Give me a reason to jump back into Halo. I uninstalled it to make room for other stuff. So I do want to jump back into it as a co-op. I can't wait to play it with people. That's my biggest. I love that about Halo. So ODST is the only Halo that I really enjoyed playing single player, and it's my favorite one. I love ODST. So
you guys are ridiculous,
my man.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're just trying to be contrarians. That's all.
No. A casual Halo fan again. That's what it appeals. That's what. No, that's fine. I know you are. You're giving me a hard time. That's cool. But what, like Sensei said, the Forge mode. Even though I'm not going to spend time in the Forge mode, I want to see what other people come out of. And again, we heard about this PTK. There was a leak over a year ago. We're talking about maybe the beginning of 2021, maybe even 2020. There was a leak about Forge, and it seems what that leaker leaked was real. And we talked about it here, we talked about it on all the shows, that they were taking Forge to a whole new level, that they were going to allow you to really get into basically the code and do what you want to. And some of this stuff that's coming out, like Sensei said, is exciting. And I'm excited to see what Sensei comes up with if he's one of those Forge guys. But the minute that I saw them make that Spartan, the size of the buildings, like my mind instantly exploded. We're going to get a Godzilla King Kong mode. We are going to get something where you take a brute and you oversize him and you give him
insane.
Ridiculous amounts of hit points, and you can squad up with your buddies and try to take them down, whether it's vehicles or on the ground while this guy is thrashing you. Look, this is going to be awesome. I can't wait to see what people, because Forge came up with some, again, Griffball came out of Forge, right? So they've come up. Yeah. So permanent Halo staples in multiplayer came out of Forge mode. And if they're going to give the accessibility to this unbelievably creative fan base, and they're going to allow them to go into it, look, all the content problems that we may talk about, or lack of content, again, it's up to you to decide whether or not Halo Infinite's given you enough so far. Look, this isn't the normal roadmap. Anybody who knows anything can agree to that. This is not a normal roadmap. I'm sure the 343 team did not plan on going this long without content. This is not what they wanted at the end of the day. If everything was perfect, they would have shorter seasons. They would have had regular content drops, more maps, etc. So, but at the end of the day, what's going to happen is if they can get this Forge out, there is going to be content coming from this community left and right. And that's what I'm excited about, because I can't wait to see some of these people who are experienced in the Forge maps come out with really ridiculous ideas, right? And try them out. That's going to be all the reason I need to hop back in on top of the co-op. So yeah, that's going to be a big deal. And I would not doubt, because we already know that the Forge is in beta, that they've been allowing some of the best and brightest out of the Forge community actually try and get their hands on it. I wouldn't doubt there's some maps that drop instantaneously with Forge, community built maps right out the gates that drop in that might be
very unsurprising.
Right. Yeah. But they might be better than we ever expected, just because of how deep you can get into this Forge system. So yeah, that's what excites me the most.
Spotlight, like a community spotlight.
Dude, that's gonna happen. Forge is gonna be huge, man. It's gonna be.
Listen. For all the stuff we talked about Halo, right? Halo, for good or for bad, right? Because of its place in history, because of the established fan base it already has, will forever be given enough time. So whatever it takes, of course, as gamers, we always want more now, and we wish that things may have been different a little bit here and there with 343 and what happened with Halo Infinite. But at the end of the day, whether it happens in the next year or whether it happens 2 years from now, if they get Halo right and they do everything that they said from the beginning they were going to do, and they get on a regular content drop, they get on regular seasons, certain affinities, new battle royale modes, supposedly, that could be the next big thing. They have the time to fix this and to get it to where they wanted it to be originally in the vision. So once that happens, Halo could take off all over again. It's already established itself. It's already huge. Fans are going to come flocking back whenever they drop something new. If they get on a regular drop basis and all of a sudden they've got like the new greatest thing, or something comes out of Forge that's like the new hit, mode for everybody. Look, Halo could be bigger than ever. Exactly what they imagined when they said they had a 10-year plan and they were going to turn this some more into a games as a service. So again, Halo has that kind of freedom, whether for good or for bad. They can take their time with this. Everything's going to be fine. Halo Infinite is exactly what they will eventually get to the point where Halo Infinite is the vision that 343 had originally. And I can't wait to see it. Again, even as a casual Halo fan, I can't wait.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh, same.
They're gonna hand the keys over to the community when it comes to Forge. I'm telling you.
Oh, it's gonna be insane. Shout out to Bacon. Shout out to Only on Xbox joining us, man. You guys know the link will be up after the show where you can catch it from the beginning. Appreciate you guys sliding in late. Thank you so much. But I definitely want to get your opinion on this one too, Fuzz, because I was so excited reading through the article, reading through the new information we got. It wasn't a ton, but it made me extreme. Now, I wasn't down on 343 like some other people were. I know this community. The game will never be perfect. This community spawned the Destiny community. They're one and the same.
Yeah,
they function the same way. The game will never be perfect. No matter what tweaks they make to it, no matter what they give us, the game is always going to have a contingency of people that don't like it. So with that being said, I was extremely excited and optimistic about some of the changes, namely because I thought some of them were very thoughtful as far as, they were thoughtful. They weren't gigantic, but they were thoughtful as well.
Yeah, they are taking some of the feedback and looking at some of the things that'll make for a better quality of life fixes and stuff. But the tethering aspect, I think in the grand scheme of things, the 1,000 meters, I mean, if they could do like they did in the division, where it's like, oh, you're untethered, but then scale the enemies up super high, so that way they're like one shotting you. So that could be another way to
Well, there's
say,
generally modes too. You got heroic, legendary. I'm sure you'll be able to cycle through like traditional Halos. I completely forgot about that because most
yeah.
people, when they're playing in a full party, 3 to 4 people, it's going to be on heroic or legendary, right? Like
Mhm.
nobody's really playing on anything less than that because wouldn't make any sense.
Yeah, but I think that distance that they allow is more than enough. Like you don't really need to be attacking individual bases and stuff at the same time to kind of clear the map. But I think that's a definite step in the right direction. And as far as Forge, I just hope they make it easy as far as finding these user created maps, kind of like what the way Forza did with their share codes for some of the created events and things like that. I hope they have it where it's just as easy to find it, whether it's somebody on your friends list or top recommended ones or ones you've recently played, add to your favorites list and things like that. As long as they like improve on some of the things that they had when they had Forge for back for what was it, I guess Halo 4 and 5
Halo
and stuff
4,
like
yeah.
that. So
Mhm.
but yeah, overall great step in the right direction. Wish it could have came a little bit sooner, but hey, at least they're testing it out in flight. So if there are to be any bugs or hiccups or anything, it'll give time for the community to kind of, give them feedback on those as well before
People
it's,
forget too. Let's not forget they dropped Halo Infinite came out early.
Mhm.
Like people forget like that what they pulled off. Their release was way better than Battlefield or Call of Duty. I
Yeah.
guarantee you Activision would trade that release for Halos. I mean,
Yeah,
I don't know where
I mean, Dice or not Dice, but didn't EA blame the
yeah.
Halo drop on
Yeah,
their
I mean,
it's
mishaps?
Halo's fault.
it's
It's
Halo's
Halo's
fault.
fault. Yeah.
We came out a month, not a month, but we came out a little sooner, but it was Halo's fault. But either way, like, come on now. Like, I get it's taking a little longer than it is
Mhm.
expected. A lot of things they do need to do some cleanup behind the scenes as far as HR.
Yeah.
That's some other things, but that's a whole nother topic of conversation. But from a game standpoint, once, like Pong said, once that ball is rolling, they have a long-term plan for this game. This is not the typical Halo that we get where we're playing the same game and then the game is pretty much living off of Forge and multiplayer for the
Mhm.
remaining life cycle. The campaign's supposed to continue.
Yeah.
Like things are supposed to evolve and it's gonna get better, bigger. So
Definitely
I didn't mean to
speaking
cut
on
you
that.
off, Fuzz.
No. That you're fine. I think pretty much this is the beginning of the roadmap as far as getting into that cadence of them being able to release content on a regular basis and stuff. But I think in the meantime, like for the lulls in time for the single player or the story based DLC, replaying the missions as far as in co-op and Forge, I think will definitely tide some people over for the most part. And for the most part, this will make the game that much more of a integral part, not just in Game Pass, but for Xbox in general, just because it is that 10-year game. They will continue to support this game, and they'll continue to listen to fan feedback as long as it's not like suck or just the stuff that's not really worthwhile critiques. They're just bashing it type of thing. But yeah, I'm looking forward to at least trying the co-op and Forge. I might even try my hand at some map
Dude.
stuff because I definitely want to try the Spider-Man map or the grapple shot map and just a few other things I want to try and see how it goes in Forge. But looking forward to it.
Absolutely. It's going to be amazing, man. I can't wait till the community gets its hands on the game and the tools and the co-op, man. It's people like you said, people are going to stampede back to Halo and it's going to be such a beautiful sight, beautiful sight to behold. So shout out to Mav sliding through. What's up, back from the dead, sliding through as well. My Destiny brother in arms. Shout out to you. But I guess we'll get to, if we can get one more question before we wrap this thing up. Otherwise, I think we're just going to get into the pleasantries here. If anybody else wants to drop a question, or if anybody here on the panel, Sensei, Pong, anybody else had anything we wanted to cover before we wrap this up.
No, just a final thought on the last topic with Halo.
Okay.
I mean, people forget that this is not your traditional Halo that came out. This is not your traditional, what's come out in the past. This is a big change in direction, in creativity, and game design when it comes to the Halo universe. Let's not forget that. This is again a 10-year game that shifted into something other than just a traditional linear experience. This is a little bit more open world. You're able to explore more. So co-op is going to be definitely different from the ground up. Then you have your forge that's not your normal. It's not going to be a typical forge. It's going to be a different forge. You guys all touched on it. I for one can see like Pong said, a Godzilla mode where like 4 versus 1, and you're fighting a big brute, and you have to bring them down, or Spider-Man mode, like Fuzzy said. So a lot of people tend to forget this is not your traditional Halo, and we got to be patient when it comes to that. I understand that they came out the gate stumbling, but PTK, you said it, man. They dropped. They did something that no other Halo has done. They dropped it. Like here's the multiplayer. Go play. Like nobody expected that.
Nobody expected that. We got this shit early. Yeah, we did not expect to be able to play that game that soon, that multiplayer that soon, and it worked fantastic. For especially when you compare it to the 2 other games we expected to be the direct competitors, Battlefield and Call of Duty. I mean, you might as well say it ran flawlessly compared to the other 2. So,
definitely, you can't even compare that. Yeah.
Yeah. No, ultimately. So I think we got one more question. Shout out to Bacon Life, man. Appreciate you, brother. He said, question, do you think ZeniMax Online and ID or id Software's next game are exclusive? I think we should throw that over to Pong.
Yeah, absolutely. They will be exclusive. Again, the only thing was established games, as Phil said, would remain with their fan base.
So that doesn't include ESO. That's going to still be multi.
That will be multiplayer. But if there's a new IP, now again, could something have changed internally? Could they be looking at things differently after the Activision Blizzard, deal goes through? Absolutely, they could. Again, will Elder Scrolls 6 be exclusive? As right now, I would say absolutely. But could they reverse course a little bit and say, well, no, Starfield will because it's a brand new IP, but Elder Scrolls is still popular everywhere, so we're going to continue that forward. I would still lean that they're going to make that exclusive. So as of this moment, I will say that yes, any new IP coming out of any of those studios, even Activision Blizzard, once it's done, is absolutely 100% Xbox exclusive going forward. I do not doubt that. And we did get a little, somebody was throwing out a little leaking that the new ZeniMax Online game is going to be a sci-fi based multiplayer MMO, sci-fi based game. I should not say MMO for sure, but it's going to be sci-fi based. And obviously their experience is in MMO, so I would expect it to be multiplayer. But they were hiring for somebody who was experienced with traversal with flying vehicles in a very vertical city setting. So that is going to be very interesting, because the first thing that popped my head was that rumor that Star Wars, there is another IP over there at ZeniMax, and that could be it, that we could be seeing a new Star Wars game, because if you remember the prequels, there was some very big scenes with a lot of flying cars in big cities and that kind of stuff. So a very interesting little tidbit there, but no, overall, I think they will be exclusive going forward.
Okay. He said Quake or Doom as well. I probably would go the route as well as Quake or Doom being exclusive. I would for sure a new Doom, but Quake as well, I would assume. I'd be comfortable.
Yeah, Quake being how long it's been gone is basically a brand new IP at this point. If they're going to reboot that, I think they keep that exclusive to Xbox. Quake is bigger on PC than it ever was on console anyways. So that's where they're really going to hit the Quake fans, is on the PC side of things. But it's going to be awesome on Game Pass and on console. So.
All right, and we'll wrap this up with Other Zing's question. He got questions straight for you, Fuzz. You already know he got to get his fix in. No hot takes from you at all, Zing. What the hell is going on?
I was to ask. There's no hot takes.
No hot takes at all. We didn't mention Kojima. That's why. Okay. We didn't mention him at all. So
I want them to make Kojima the head of Xbox Japan at the end of the day. So I think they should buy. I think they should buy, Kojima Productions, and they should go ahead and just make that the home base of Xbox in Japan. And they should put Kojima in charge.
As long as they put Jeff Keighley as assistant director.
Well, no, head of marketing, Keighley. He can head up all the Xbox shows from here on out. Just make Keighley the head of marketing.
Don't take the bait, Zing. You've been doing so well. Do not allow them to do this to you, all right? Don't do it. I better not see the next thing you tweet to be something crazy. Just leave it alone. Leave it alone. But no, shout out to Zink, man. He's always awesome. He has so much fun here at the podcast.
He's jumping out the window as we speak.
Right? Appreciate you, brother. Thank you for hanging out, man. But last question. This is specifically for Fuzz, our resident racing expert. We got, are you going to try that new Formula One 2022 racing game?
I will try the 10-hour trial. Like I'll be perfectly honest. I'm more of a closed wheel fan than open wheel fan. So Formula One and IndyCar aren't my go-tos, but I do enjoy racing games just in general. And I want to see what a fully funded by EA Codemasters will produce as far as this new Formula One game. Like I'm seeing that they have a lot of the customization they had from the previous one, although I don't know if it's all, add-on buy stuff, but I want to also see how they make the handling, if they've, stayed with the kind of Simcade style, or if they're going a little more arcadey this go around. But like before with the previous ones, like 21 and 20, the cars, you can make it as sim-like as you want. And, F1, it's a little bit faster than I like on a car that's pretty much a paperweight, or as light as paper or light as a feather on the track. But, yeah, I want to see if EA has had any negative influence or if they've had any positive influence on this title. And just seeing some of the customization stuff, it looks like it's a step in the right direction, but we'll see if it gets microtransaction-y like I guess it was like the 2021 was. None of it's required, but a lot of people are going to want to, style out their team in their driver suit and the car and stuff like that, much like you would, level up your character or style out your character for, NBA 2K or something like that. So we'll see how it goes. But the 10-hour trial, I'm definitely giving it a go.
All right. Well, we're gonna wrap things up, and shout out to Zink for the last question. And shout out to you, Caitlin, as well. See you. Don't want to miss you. Shout out to Mav as well. We're gonna wrap things up, man. So it's been a phenomenal show. We wrapped up another awesome Saturday, man. Had a phenomenal guest. We do want to get to our guest first here. We want to get to our chat first. Let's be honest with you. Chat, you guys are fucking awesome. You guys are amazing. Shout out to you guys all hanging out with us. You guys come in, show up, show out every single Saturday. You guys show your support. You hit the likes. You just in here talking. It's always lit, giving us great questions. So thank you for hanging out with us and spending a little bit of time. You could be anywhere else, but you're here with us for at least a couple hours every single Saturday. Thank you so much, man. But we're going to get to our guest here, Mr. Sensei, bro. It's always a good time, man. I urge you, chat, do me a favor. Go follow him if you have not. Go support him. All the information, all that stuff's down in the description. Support everything he's doing. Phenomenal show, super non-biased, talks about everything, super knowledgeable, a real deal gamer for sure, certified over here at the Shop Podcast. So he got the stamp on him. So go check him out, doing everything, everything positive over there on the podcast. So Sensei, shout out to you for hanging out with us, bro. Let everybody else know where they can find you, brother.
I appreciate you, man. First, I just want to quick shout out to my community that ended up popping up here. Uncle Mike, I appreciate you for coming over, man, and watching us out. Check out these guys. These guys are awesome. Every single week they put on a one show. It's just every week, and I appreciate you guys for allowing me to come in. Shin Rock, I saw him come in earlier. Others think, brother, like every single week he's in our chats and he's doing his thing. So love that, man. And the rest of the people in chat, thank you guys for coming out and lighting up the chat. You guys are amazing. You can find me at my channel, which is it's a weekly podcast as well. It's on Sundays at 4 p.m. Eastern time. I'm a small channel growing ever so slowly, but quality over quantity is what I say. But you can catch me on Sensei's Thoughts Podcast. That's the channel. You can find them on the Sensei. I also do daily content Monday through Friday, where I pick a game that's on my radar or a top 4 list of things that should be changing or improving on the Xbox side. Go check that out. I drop that content every Monday through Friday on a weekly basis. But other than that, you can catch me on Twitter as well under Sensei, where I just drop my gaming knowledge on that as well. But I appreciate you guys and PTK as always, man. Thank you for the invite. This has been an amazing day, an amazing experience to cap off a good Saturday that I've already had. And I hope every one of you guys have an amazing rest of your 4th of July weekend, man.
Yeah, be safe out there as well, too, everybody. Got to make sure we got to add that on the end. But shout out to you, Sensei. Once again, bro, anytime you like family here, you've been here a couple times already. It's always been a great show. Chat loves you. We love you here at the Shop Podcast, brother. So anytime, you never know when that Batman signal will show up again for me. So appreciate you being ready and just, always adding so much to the show and taking the time out. So to my 2 brother in arms, we got Mr. Pong Harvey Pong Soul, man. Once again, you're always consistent doing your damn thing every week. I did not get ripped this week, so I
No.
appreciate that. No
No.
criticism at all.
No.
No
Nope.
anything. This is a damn milestone. I might have a drink.
Yeah. Light up a cigar, man. It's a good day for you, PTK. So you survived another week. You'll be back next week as host for the time being.
Like the Squid Games here now, Sensei.
Nah, you did great tonight, PTK. And you're hey, listen. Even your question, your poll of the week was fantastic. So you did a nice job there. So again, let's make this a streak, PTK. Let's go for it. No, this is an amazing night. Thank you all, brothers, especially Sensei, for coming through. Again, like he said, this is my favorite way to end my Saturday night. Again, I just love being here. If you can't tell, I just love talking games. It was a long week. Last night on Xbox Ultimate was my first show of the week, which is really rare. Had to, bow out of Xbox Factor this week and had no PM in the PM. So, man, I was extra charged and got an extra show in, but this right here is constant. Ending Saturday night with you, brothers, here, and whoever our guest is just the best way to do it. So thank you all. Chat, amazing as always. And again, the people who rolled through, Sensei supporters who came in here, man, love you all too for dropping in. I hope you liked the show. Come back anytime you want, man. You're just as welcome as Sensei to drop in the chat and check us out each and every Saturday, because this is what we do here. So if you liked what you heard tonight, that's what you get week in and week out. PTK runs one of the best shows out there. He's been doing it for so long. It's natural, and obviously Fuzzy is just amazing, consistent. So come on back. Let's see us again. Otherwise, gotta ask everybody. Been asking everybody on every show. Okay, we did this for Spooky when Spooky was in a terrible spot. Assassin Lupa, great member of this community, phenomenal human being, a bright light. If you've never had the pleasure of interacting with her in the chat or gaming with her or seeing her on a podcast, listen to me. Trust me, she is one of the good ones in this world. She is in a very tough spot. Fun speculation. Shout out to Mav. He got an update from John, her husband. She had a procedure. It did not go well. She is going through a major high-risk surgery come the 6th of this month. So please keep her in your thoughts, prayers, wishes, hopes. Send her energy. Whatever you do personally, just remember Assassin Lupa and send all the good vibes her way, please, because she is in a very, very tough spot and we want to see her back here again. So please do so. But otherwise, everybody have a fantastic 4th of July weekend. If you're enjoying extra day off on Monday, hey, so am I. Get some gaming in, do whatever, spend the time with the family, cook out, whatever you're going to do, but enjoy this weekend. Otherwise, you can find me, Pong Soul, Xbox, Twitter, you know the drill. I'll be back on Xbox Factor Podcast this Tuesday for sure. I'm going to be there. So be there over at Boomstick's channel. Double Barrel Gaming is the channel. Mr. Boomstick is the man. All good things green on Tuesday, 12 p.m. Eastern, 11 o'clock Central Time. Thursday, PM in the PM is back. We will be back this week, God willing. So Pong and Mav in the PM over on Fun Speculations channel, 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 o'clock Central. 2-man show. We're building a great community over there. Fun Speculation has been growing phenomenally for the past year and a half. So come check us out. We have a great time every Thursday night, just him and I. Sometimes we have a guest, but normally it's just him and I breaking down some topics. And then back at Fun Speculations channel for Xbox Ultimate on Friday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 o'clock Central Time. Just ridiculously fun. We never know what we're going to talk about. Like, we're going to talk Xbox for sure. But topics are going to come up and it's going to go left. And now Fuzzy's part of the family. So Fuzzy's experienced now with this. Right. So again, this it goes crazy on Friday nights. You never know what you're going to hear. But drop in there, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 o'clock Central Time. Saturday mornings is when really it lights up. We wake you up on Saturday morning over on Living Split Screen. Split Screen's all one word. My brother from another, Steel, Rain, and I will bring the energy. All you got to do is roll over in your bed, click on YouTube, find us and turn us on, and you'll be up doing chores like Mr. Boomstick does, whatever the case may be. We're going to get you ready for your Saturday. So join us every Saturday, Living Split Screen, Mission 1K. We need some help getting there. Listen, it's 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central Time, 3 p.m. UK time. Split Screen's all one word. Find us there. Listen, it's the golden age of gaming, people. It really, really, truly is.
It is.
You gotta appreciate this time. Like I said, if you haven't been around as long as somebody like I have, 4 decades into this game, listen, this really is the best time. Go enjoy some of that. Play what you love what you play. And I'm going to talk to you all real soon.
Appreciate you, Pong. Always so eloquently wrapping up the show, man. Appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much. Bringing that energy, man. You guys know what to do for Pong. You guys are mostly all familiar here. So shout out to Pong for kicking it with us every week, taking that time out. Last but not least, Mr. Fuzzy Belvedere, man. Smoothing things all the way out. Appreciate you, bro. Let everybody know where they can find you at.
Just want to thank Sensei for joining us today. It was awesome having you on here with your perspectives and taking a step back and looking at like the overall picture and giving a great take on things. Always love being on here with you, PTK and Pong. You guys are pretty much my go-to as far as my tight-knit gaming family, along with like Fun Speculation family and Boom. But you guys are like the close-knit family, like brothers in arms kind of thing. Always enjoy being on here, you guys, on Saturday nights. And thank you for everyone that came and joined us here in the chat. It's always awesome to interact with you guys and go through some of the questions and hear hot takes and talk driving and racing games and stuff. It's always fun time for me. But for anybody that wants to hear my random thoughts on anything gaming related, just follow me on Twitter at @fuzzy_Belvedere. You can also find me on FSP on Mondays at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Fun Speculations channel. You can also find me on Breakfast with Boom on 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Friday on Mr. Boomstick XL or Double Barrel Gaming's channel. And then later that night, as Pong had mentioned, Xbox Ultimate on Fun Speculations channel. It is basically it's like a Friday night party or like a Friday night party chat, just with video and a whole bunch of, gaming related topics. And then right back here Saturday evening at 9 p.m. Eastern Time on the Shop Podcast with you guys. Look forward to it.
Appreciate you, Fuzz. Thank you so much for hanging out with us, bro. Always consistent here and always bringing that smoothing everything out, when things get too far left. So we appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much, man. Super vital to the show. Wouldn't be here without you, brother. Thank you so much as well as Pong, man. But PTK Blam, you know who I am, host of the Shop Podcast. Join us next week. Same time, same damn place. I'm probably going to have a guest next week. More than likely we will. So, we're trying to, grab new people. So if you guys want to suggest guests, my DMs are always open. You can hit me up on Twitter. All of that stuff is in the description below. Appreciate you guys. Please have a safe weekend. Enjoy your extra day off. I know I will. So I'll holler at you guys a bit later. Peace out, everybody.